To advance, digi stance, make the CD enhance. I move with the speed and strength of ants. And I got my whole colony here with me today as we're about to break it down. Blood and guts. We're going to get it all messed up in here on the AEW Dynamite Light the Fuse with the one and only Genocide. YOLO! Yes, y'all.
What's up?
Good to see you, champ. How's things going with you? Feeling all right?
I am feeling good. I'm coming off 2 big wins. My first NWA win against Sky Blue, and then probably my toughest victory over Holodead at Mission Pro. So I feel good.
Yeah, not bumped out. Travel miles didn't get you. You're feeling all right, nice and limber. Nothing.
Adrenaline is a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. And so are you, in and out of makeup. And so is Steve Rogers, Channel 10 News' own. He's back on the scene to give us all the updates. Steve, what do you got going on over there?
I'm Steve Rogers, Channel 10 News, here live at Corey and Trevor's convenience store, interviewing the lovely Genocide, who not only was victorious but survived her first Falls Count Anywhere match. And yes, I'm a little bit biased here, but I watched it back twice, and it was a dope fucking match. And I want to say not just a good women's wrestling match that people say all the time. It was a good match. They outdid many of the guys on it. So I'm going to let Jenna talk about it. You guys ask some questions to our loyal listeners, my friends out there. You can watch this match right now on YouTube. It's got its own link. Title Match Wrestling Network. Just look up Genocide versus Holiday.
Awesome. We'll put it out on Patreon too, so you guys can go right and get it. Go ahead, Jen.
No, definitely. So basically on Title Match Network, there was torrential downpours and flood watches and crazy weather, and the stream went down for the show. So they ended up putting the match up for free, which it wasn't intended to, but they put it up for free on their YouTube channel because of all the issues and just to make sure that fans were able to access the match. So it's up there live. So we'll link to it later.
We'll put it in the Hamin Media Group, and we'll definitely give it as much play as we can across all of our social medias with HMG at Hamin Media Group, Twitter, and all that as well. And the man behind all that, one of the masterminds of marketing, editing, co-hosting, ball sucking or sucking balls. It's the one and only MSG. How you doing today, bro?
I'm good. I'm your host on the scene where the air is clean. I'm lighting up that green. Ya boy, MSG. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Matthew_Chaffer. That's right. We're back for another edition of Light the Fuse. I'm excited. We had a pretty good AEW show that I'm excited to talk about. But yes, the star of the show, after watching a fantastic wrestling match, courtesy of Title Match Network, we also have the 000 Bionic Woman. Genocide is here. So I'm excited to review that match with her. Yeah, but we're back. I don't know if I'm an expert on sucking balls and marketing, but I think I'm pretty good at editing. So thanks for
the host of the
You're more of a ball sucky.
Ball sucky.
Host of Suck My Balls podcast, the South Park review. Guys, check him out doing all of his great work.
Suck my balls, suck my balls.
Anyway, we're also, of course, sponsored by Roadcaster. You can check out Roadcaster Pro boards by going to road.com or any of your official electronic stores, as well as the Russo Bros coffee at thebrosters.com and Zordo's olive oil. I'm sorry, Silvio. Go ahead.
Oh, it's all good. So since we do have Genocide here, you come in and pop in on the show, and the fans love it. But kind of the dynamic that Hamin and myself and MSG have is we give the real deal on this show. We speak from our hearts. We speak our minds. Even if we don't agree on something, we talk it out here in front of the world, which I think is awesome. So I want you to talk about the real of what you just went through. Your first Falls Count Anywhere. I don't think you've ever had a match that physical before. How'd you feel as far as preparing for it? How did the match itself feel? What was the experience like?
So the experience was amazing. It was my first time doing ever a match like this. Yes, I've wrestled all over the world in both with men and women. And I will say this was the most physical and hardest opponent I've ever faced. We wrestled all around the arena, from concrete floors to wood floors to the ring, weapons to
Throw targets.
axe throwing targets. No axes though, thank goodness it wasn't that kind of match. But no, it was the most physical, but the most challenging, and I gotta say it was the best feeling I ever had doing it. So, and the
Right.
reaction, and just to have 300 fans on their feet the entire time and so into the story and the feud between Holodead, and have them with us the entire time nonstop. It's something I'll never forget. You know,
You did have them. It's not, you weren't, sometimes we can not perceive things correctly. When I was watching that, not just the great match, but to see them, how into it they were, it had me jealous. I'm like, I can't wait to get back out there and have that feeling again. You really did have them in the moment all over the place. Let me ask you this is a different match, because I've been through this after, you know, however many years we've been doing this. When you have these matches that are outside of the ring that seem more brutal and what are we going to do? Isn't it almost a little bit easier once you settle in, because you're not worried about ping-ponging off the ropes, being there for this, that, or the other? You really have to slow down and get into your groove. The TLC match I had with Congo Kong versus the Dirty Vets, I kind of felt that and learned that. I was like, damn, I should be doing these matches more. These are way easier for me to not get blown up. But how did you enjoy having something so different than what we're usually used to training? Because we don't train this type of match most of the time.
No, definitely it went on feel and just the flow, and kind of, you know, her and I have that kind of magic in a bottle where we just can flow and follow each other and just get into things. So I think we're in the moment and enjoying it more than worrying about like the next spot in the ring or something. And we let it ride, man, and we put everything into it, and you know, we had a good time doing it. And as you can tell at the end of the match, nothing but with respect for each other. And I think she's awesome. She took me to my limits, you know what I mean? And once you go through that with someone, like, you know, we'll be girls for life. That was an all-out war, man. And you know, I'd step in the ring with her any day. But that kind of match, it was awesome. Not many places have that kind of setup to do that. And I was so worried because there was all of the severe weather getting there, and then the day of, it's an outdoor pavilion, and the rain just wouldn't stop, and all of a sudden the water kept coming closer and closer. Then it was all around the ring, and it was concrete, so they were like, oh, we might not be able to do the falls count anywhere. I'm like, no, oh my god. But it ended up, by the grace of God, it stopped the rain. They got brooms, brought fans, and dried it out enough. You can see the ground still slick, but at least the flood had stopped. So
sellout crowd too in the downpour.
That's cool. Sell out. That just shows what Thunder Rosa and Mission Pro is doing. Sell out. Fans were in line in the rain, got wrapped around the building just to get in there. That's
what are they doing down there with successful marketing? Like what is their business plans that others could take a lesson from to really make sure that their houses are full too?
I think all of the sponsors that Mission Pro has, they show up there from all different other podcast supporters. They're down, they're doing it. I mean, it's an all knit. Mission Pro is the only all female, run by all females. All the talent, everything having to do with the show is females, and I think that's what sets them apart, and kind of this marketing platform that no one else is doing right now except for her. And we know Thunder Rosa is a hustler and machine and has so many followers and everything. So that helps lead the way for everyone else. And then I think it's just all the girls too, dropping their own promos, doing their own marketing, because everyone believes in it so much more than just say, you know, your average indie show. I think it's all the women combined and the forces together. So.
I saw that little clip on NWA where she had to answer a question of, why is she not loyal to NWA? And she and even in character, it's pretty much, shut the fuck up. You don't pay my bills. Don't tell me.
The way she said that, I was dying, because it's true.
Absolutely. It takes the marks who want to be, oh, she's this label. Don't tell. I'm a pro wrestler. I go everywhere, and I'll go into any fed and whoop anybody's ass. That's
exactly. How you go where the money is. And she's right. We all have families to feed, and you know, you go where there's green and who wants you. So you can't knock a hustler, man. And that's what she is. So
well, I think what you've unlocked on the hustle, and never to knock the hustle, is that there's magic here with you and Holodead, and this can go for a year, 2 years, all around the world. And it's not going to be the same match and the same, oh, they got this finish and her finish in. The chemistry's there, and there's 50 different match stories we can tell out of this. And I think what you post online has pushed her. You see her powerlifting, and put some earmuffs on Silvio here for a minute real quick.
Sure.
Earmuffs. So, whether you guys, these are a dead girl gimmick and, Terminator, sexy Terminator, as I liken it most of the time. If you want to see girls who are in shape, who got them cakes, forget about the violence. Both these girls bring the sex appeal while they're doing a character that is something completely different from that they're not selling it. But not only are they overly trained and prepared for the opportunity, but you're going to get the sex appeal that you like from wrestling from both these girls. So I didn't want to go too hard in on that, especially with respect to you guys. But what sells more than anything is the visual in our business, and this match has it all, and it has the crowd feel like you're really there. They really have good production there. The 1080p that I watched of it, I was like, this is as good, if not better work than what I'm watching on the mainstream television shows. It really delivered all over. The other thing I like a lot, especially because of how chill you are and you're goofy and we have fun when you and I see you in the gym ripping her up too, but when you were over by that axe throw target and you'd grab the mic and get hot,
Whoopsie.
I don't give a shit about it. It's an indie show. If it's on there, that let's do, motherfuckers. Let's talk like we really do in real life instead of, no, I have to be, nah, dude, we're in an axe throw target bar. Motherfuckers are laid down every 2 seconds. I'm not going to hold anybody's feet to the fire for some NXT bullshit for that. But what comes out there is a genocide or a Jenna Van Muscles we don't see. And that version only comes out during a high level in the moment performance. It's very much like Asuka on her channel at home, just being super cute, making, steak, teriyaki steak or whatever. But then in the ring, she's turned up to a level that you can't even really believe it's the same person. And in that moment, when you were in the zone, we're almost possessed as performers in overtaking these characters. And regardless of how good the wrestling was and in the stiff shots and all that, that was a very big character moment where I was like, that's something that she's really in tune with the voice of who she is.
Yeah, I have, when it comes, once my switch, I guess, is activated, it's kind of like I don't hold back. I don't know. It's like something else just takes over. That's a hard thing
for performers to overcome. Right now, Rhea Ripley is taking acting classes to even try and get close to what you were doing live in that segment in the moment. I really want to point that out as an important thing to think about.
And when I did that on the mic, mind you, Thunder Rosa was standing right there, and I was like, afterwards, I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, I don't know.
I think everyone knew how into it we were. That I know all of the parents and the kids that were in line to see me afterwards didn't mind too much, and they love me either way, and they know that my name. I know some people, I get heat from that, but if you know me and what it means, it's a robot, it's a cosplay, it's like an action figure. It's not genocide with a G. It's my name is Jenna. Genocide. I am a robot. I do have metal and wires in my body. This is who I am. This is my character. And that's my name. And I've never had one problem with fans or the children that I love that come to see me.
Hold on. You mean your name isn't genocide because you've killed over 10 million people and left their bodies in ditches? That's not why then I'm not into this.
And I'm Jewish. Like, you know what I mean? Like, someone brought it up. Like, it's offensive to Jewish people. I'm a New York Jew. Like, my parents wear my t-shirt.
And like, there was only one genocide in the history of the planet, right? There's been genocides every 100 years. There's one. So that's just the ignorance of, and people virtue signaling because they want to have something to bitch about. I loved the, what was it? ST, like going into the skull crushing finale roll through STO, into that. I really love that pin because you've done everything else hard hitting wise. What are we going to do in the ring that's going to take them up to here? wrestling beat it out, and it wasn't let's just do a roll up because we got nothing else to do. It was a very innovative, and right before that, the false pin leading into that. So definitely Hamin Media 5-star. Very proud of you, and great work on going out there and when you had the fans. That's the thing. When people watch this match, you watch the fans, you'll see how into it and hungry they are for every second of it. There wasn't one time where it took the dip of like, we got to get them back here. Yeah, everybody got a piece of you guys are all the way around the ring and working all that. And I'm glad, much like WrestleMania 37, that you guys got to perform,
I was happy that we went a little over on time, but I think that they let us ride, you know what I mean? And to have that time and to be able to do that on my first kind of match like that, like I feel just elated. And I couldn't do it. He's the one who helped me prepare for it. He's the one that got in my head and helped me like prep for this type of thing. So a lot of innovative stuff comes from that brain right there.
I mean, you'll appreciate this. She's asking me like, well, how do I make a match like this great? So she literally got about a 30-minute crash course at the end of training on the Tuesday prior. I just tell everyone, all right, guys, I got to teach Jenna this. So everyone gather around so you can learn too. Picked up a couple chairs, showed her how to do a few things with the chair that look like death, but hopefully don't cause death. Pulled out a ladder, explain how you sell in a match like this and the importance of selling, which is what gets it over. What gets any move over? The way someone sells it. Yay.
Yeah.
Explain the flow. We went home that night and watched Bret Hart versus Austin from WrestleMania 13. I said, you got the flow now? She said, I got the flow, baby. We just put in the particulars and her and Holiday tore shit up.
You just go to a spot, but we're going here, and then I'll chase you over to there, and we'll do a little something over here, and then I'll take Spike Dudley up to the top and throw him down the stairs. Like to me, these are easier matches, but they seem more complicated to the viewer. But for the wrestler like me, who's not as athletically inclined and is more character based, the stalk of a heel getting on somebody is more important than the strike that you throw.
Yeah.
And that closeness.
Yeah, I figured it out the lay of the land. I watched several matches, and like I've watched Falls Count Anywhere, but I guess I didn't like I wasn't studying it because I've never done it. I would say I did a crash course of studying and help with him, and I think we got it across. I saw fans' comments like, that WWE doesn't know how to do those kinds of matches. Here, watch this. And I'm like, I'll take that all day in the fan feedback if they like it and they could think that. And that was my first one. So I'm like, I'll take it.
There's money on you guys going all around doing this. There's money on you two together as a tag team as well. That it gets right there. And you're talking about two of the top female prospects, especially when I'm seeing women on national TV. And I'm not trying to down girls who are going to be in your locker room, but you're already, they're at a level 2, they're at second grade, you're already in high school with this shit, you know what I mean? And they're on the main TV show getting time, exposing the business and exposing themselves. So there's got to be a switch here, and both you girls by 2022 are going to be on a mainstream TV show. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. And I know how hard that she can go inside the ring too. That she doesn't wrestle like your classic girl style. She just like Serena, how trained with all the guys and whatnot. Holiday wrestles just like any tough dude, man. She doesn't do any of that bullshit powder puff stuff. Nope. It's time to go. It's time to go.
No, I know she's a great woman, and yes, hard hitting. Again, hardest hitting individual I've been in the ring with, and that goes for men and women. So, she took it to me, and I don't know.
You want to call her a stiff bitch right now, or no? You stiff bitch.
No. Guess what? I'll stiff her right back, and we had fun doing it.
Yeah.
I think we both, her and I, are the ones that we know, like, we're not anywhere that big, and we're okay with that. I think her and I are just happy to get in the ring and do what we do.
But every time you guys are on a show, everyone's left going, how are these girls not on TV? And it's just gonna haunt Khan. It's gonna haunt not NWA, because they're smart enough to get it out there first. And it's gonna haunt WWE of we passed. We should have gone a year ago here. So know that your stock price is on the rise, and don't lowball yourself on any offer.
No,
That's the main thing of what you're doing now. You're past the proving grounds. You're building equity in your brand now, and it's going to cost them more to bring you in than it is, hey, we found her as a diamond in the rough through a tryout gimmick that way. So know that and get
I know.
money.
They could have seen my diamond in the rough back in 2012 for my Tough Enough audition or whenever that was.
Yeah. But they missed, and you didn't go away, and now you're a much higher property. So when they come back around, you get what you deserve and then some.
Thank you.
Because you got to be as smart of a businesswoman like you already are as a corporate businesswoman. You need to apply those skills in negotiation and everything that you want when that comes around, instead of kowtowing and thank you so much. No, I know who I am. And I know what I'm going to bring to you money value wise. And they might want to change the whole genocide thing, but at the same time, they're going to pay for it.
We may or may not have discussed this whole value thing about a dozen times here in this household.
I think it's an important for your students to understand too, and to have Jenna as the test subject of that, instead of just like, yeah, build yourself up, and then you got to start from scratch in what it's going to cost. Like, they could have had me as a associate writer for $120,000. Now I'm only taking head writer, nothing less than $700,000. Because why would I not? Why would I short my value that way when I'm an NFL star when it comes to this shit? But you don't want to sign me? No way, dude. And especially guys that are on the payroll doing next to nothing. What's a Hamin and a Bruce doing at $500 million? You're not getting this mind without paying the dues that you should have 10 years ago.
No, I know. And I think Chris is number one testimonial compared to where I was before I met him, even before we were together, and to where I am now. I think for all the students and everything, I'm his walking testimonial on, like, if you really put in the work, like, look at what you can do. I know he can't get in the ring right now and perform, but I feel like he's with me and he wrestles through me, and that's how we do things right now.
It's Geppetto and Pinocchio. There's no doubt. But again,
a weird relationship those two have.
That's creepy. Entirely. That's another show.
That's a conspiracy horseman.
I think the old man was just a little lonely and he needed a friend.
So that's right.
I mean, I'll agree to do a conspiracy horseman if we investigate Geppetto's relationship.
He actually directed the plays at the Blandford Recreational Center. Not a lot of people know that. He did puppet shows down there. But we're very proud of you. Go ahead, MSG.
Yeah, the match was fantastic. I thought that as you pointed out at the beginning of this podcast, as I started, getting into the match, I wasn't watching and going, wow, these females are awesome. I went, wow, these chicks are kicking the shit out of each other, and this is amazing. You know what I mean? So I never looked at it like women wrestling or they're doing good for women's wrestling. I was just looking at two athletes.
Yep.
Did a really good job.
And that's what I wanted to get across. We're not just the powder puff or women. Like, we're athletes.
But they got nice butts too.
We don't skip squats. All right.
I wasn't going to say that, but not to Silvio's face. That being said, I really like orange. I really like orange chairs. I think more wrestling companies need to use an orange chair. The visual of color streaking across the screen before it hits something is very appealing and endearing as a viewer. So I want to see more color-based weapons.
I saw the red flying at my face.
Right. You just got the red kendo stick. That is an interesting point, MSG. That is something I don't think I've ever thought about.
That was one of the only metal chairs we found, so it wasn't even intentional. So good to know.
Yeah, I really liked it. And then, the female commentators, that was refreshing just to hear all female commentary team. They had a couple hiccups, but I'm assuming that, they're just like myself doing indie commentary. You're just, learning, taking everything as you can and getting better each show. So I thought they did really well, though. And they were really excited, which is another refreshing thing. As somebody who's done commentary, listened to commentary, you never want to hear a dull commentator. The females were really into it and really selling it. So they made you really excited to watch the match as well. So all in all, it was a great match. And yeah, I liked the ending too. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
you guys have built it up so much, and then you just caught her like that, and it wasn't a stupid small package. So thank you.
Right. It was a setup to look like a finish roll through on an impact finisher and hook the leg to get the crack cradle on there. It was as legit as it could be, to be honest with you. So we're not doing all this stuff only to blow it with a phony back bridge. I can do all this shit. You know what I mean? Like, and it came out of nowhere. And I wasn't expecting the finish out of fall seat up, switch, turn, boom, there it was, you know.
Yeah.
It was an interesting timing that didn't leave me going, did I need anything else there? Because I just watched NXT in the women's Falls Count Anywhere, get your shit in main event there, and they went 4 or 5 minutes past where the finish should have been. They had the ladder on the outside. The two of the girls fuck off the ladder. They're so little that the ladder doesn't break, so they bounce to the floor. And then there was a suplex through the table that didn't break, and that should have been the finish because they clear the way. There's the other high spot, and it kick out. We're going 4 more minutes with another table spot. We're doing that. It's just like, well, there goes the bus. We had the finish right there, and I'll get the next one. No worries. And
I'll have to watch. I missed that one.
Yeah, they missed it too, believe me. But the opener, and that was also an insane street fight between Swerve and Leon Ruff, and it was serious biz. So if you guys are going to do this again, that first opener this week on NXT might really inspire you to like, ooh, I'm going to take that, but I'm going to put my spin on it this way. I think definitely I would recommend that opener on NXT.
That match, the opener you're saying, my father never sent me anything wrestling related, sent me that match because of something they did in it. They took one of the stage lights, and my dad's in stage lighting, and then he used it to blind Swerve in a spot. And he goes, I have never seen a stage light used like this before. So talk about innovative. You're talking about, an 85-year-old man, and that caught his attention, and he sent it to me.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because those were 2 posts as I stalk you all the time to make sure you're doing things on the right path, and you are. I loved both of those posts this week where you did show your father as a shooter and where you came from. And then you also posted your mother as a Rockette dancer as well. And I was unaware, as you know, we're kind of new friends this year, and I'm very thankful for that. But I was like, wow, those were 2 really great posts of like, these are the things I'm made of, which is from show people at the highest level on Broadway, with knowing what it takes to have the body, and then your father, who's got some long legs on him too as well, and an original shooter. So I was just like, there it is. How could the recipe for success not be there? You know what I mean? Just genetically.
I'm so glad you like those. I told my parents to please dig out photos. Like, I really want. My marketing brain was like for NWA and the vintage flair and the history. I'm like, how can I do some posts of something that is like part of me in history and like vintage? And I was trying to think of some different stuff for the NWA people that I thought they could appreciate. And that's where my brain kind of pulled that into.
If you do a comedy match where it doesn't matter to like, and you can break down into the genocide robot of like whatever the programming is, you should just like, and then start doing the kick line and get like, if your opponent's in the corner, do 3 of them, and then the third one you kick her in the face as like that's just part of your programming in a spot, and then you go over that way and do the Rockette thing.
That's more for a Bar Wars show.
Bar Wars show, definitely.
Yeah, but like I say, comedy match. If you like, I would do something like that.
These are not the kicks Mama thought I'd be doing.
but it's in your programming and your DNA, so you can pull it out if you need to. At some time, like if they put that stuff on NWA and put that in your backstory of this is where she comes from, that's yours now.
Oh yeah,
that stuff is yours now. There's no reason you can't.
Broadway. She was as Broadway as it gets.
Awesome. Yeah, me too. So that's why that pops me, as well. And but I was just thinking of a funny little spot that you could do. Like, there's the kicks. How can we work this into our match? I'll leave that in your hands, Sil.
Her dad was a linebacker through college and wrestled in the off season. Her mom was a legit Rockette. So you get the best of both worlds in this beautiful creations here.
Thanks.
Can you imagine Jenna being a Rockette?
No.
I'd pay good money to see that.
Yeah.
I ate 5 of them.
I went and saw 'em. I took the wives like 2 years ago to go see them. They're impressive athletes, man. There's no doubt about it. Especially timing and footwork is everything, you know. But
And
I was
heels.
kind of disappointed because we're on Broadway and all the backup cast members are lip syncing, dude. I was like,
They are.
oh yeah.
Mhm.
I was like, come on, B. Like you worked, everybody up here's got a theater degree, probably from NYU or Tisch or something like that. And I go, you guys got a lip sync? Oh, I was just like, but then the dancing is.
I didn't know you were such a Broadway like.
I
Yeah.
grew up.
He's a
I
showman.
grew up on the stage. I've done every Rodgers and Hammerstein show 3-4 times. I've played everything from Sky Masterson to Tevye to.
Okay.
If Twitch hadn't shut us down, I'd say find Hamin on a lucky night where he's had a couple of drinks and you might get a performance out
You
of
might
him.
get, you might get half a
love
lay.
it.
You might get half a lay Miz before the show's over.
I love it. So it stems from, I'll tell you, and I'll keep it because I know you have to get to the blood and guts. My grandfather did lighting, and he has a Tony Award for what he's done on Broadway, and that's where the showbiz part of my family comes in. So it started with my granddad doing the lighting, won a Tony Award, and then my dad did production lighting. And after he was an athlete growing up, and he met showbiz, he used to help my mother get off stage at one of her shows because it was a high step, and that's where their love story started, by
very
helping her down from the stage. See, you helped me down from the stage.
There it is. There it
And
is.
then I dove onto you, and you.
And then he dove on me and I dropped him.
So probably the same thing happened there. They just left that part out of the story. So, well, we're all carnies. Doesn't matter if it's theater folk or wrestling, whatever it is, man. Showbiz is that addiction that we all chase. That moment where we're riding the edge of the razor blade and the spotlight's on us, and you both shine very much, and I can't wait to tell Holiday the same when we're back out on the road together how proud I am of her.
That's awesome. I appreciate
but-
your all support and giving the time to even put a spotlight on me at the start of your show. So that means a lot.
I wouldn't be doing it if you sucked.
This is true.
But
I was gonna say I did have one story that I forgot I wanted to bring up actually before
please go ahead.
and I think you're gonna have some input on this. So Triller, the company that just recently bought Fight Network, announced that with more than 2 million streams, Triller lost a lot of money to piracy on its last event, and now the company plans to recoup that by hunting down the pirates. Their plan is to go after streamers and content viewers. And I saw a bunch of people on Facebook. So for those who are maybe worried about watching the streaming illegally, if you watched it, while we encourage you, if you probably should, buy pay-per-views and support artists and entertainers, they can't come after you for just watching it. So don't freak out. You just turned on a website and it was on there. You're not going to go to jail. Or
That's awesome. That I love that they try and put the heat on there, and some people will be scared, and the rest of us are like, "Fuck you." I mean, I know we want to work with Triller, and I'm excited to hopefully collaborate. But it's the same as Dana White saying it, and I'm like, dude, Dana White, come over here and make me stop doing stealing all your pay-per-views, because the greed has gotten insane with the numbers that they charge, and then cable companies doing the same as people cut the cord. Just stop being greedy cocksuckers and go back to $20, and maybe we will pay. But the fact that they jacked and juiced us for 10 to 20 years, you're getting everything in return that you did to us, man. So you go enjoy Applebee's paying you is about the only one, because you ain't getting $1 from the underground back. And I say to everybody, watch Wrestling LA, VIPbox.nu, FirstRowSports.me, SportsBay.org.
Maddie, mute him.
I don't have the controls.
Is there like a 5-second delay? Okay.
So
the underground will reign supreme, and no matter what shriveled old greedy bastards try and come for us through Comcast or anything else, we will just create another site, and it'll go from watchwrestling.uno to watchwrestling.yourmother'sfatass. I don't care what it is, bro. That's how we'll do it. And you will never win.
So for those unaware, the full story, Triller, the Fight Club, which brought us the Jake Paul versus Ben Askren match in April, spent the first couple weeks after the show bragging about the 1 million+ pay-per-view units sold, which is still nobody's been able to verify by insiders. But now they're coming after the Pirates, saying that 2 million legal streams of the event were made. Those who don't agree to Fight TV and pay up before a lawsuit hits face $150,000 in damages. You're wondering how they tend to do this. VPNs all have to comply and turn over the actual IP addresses of each person who stole a fight in Discovery. We will be able to identify each and every person, VPN or not, as each stream has a unique fingerprint embedded in the content. Triller will pursue the full $150,000 penalty per person per instance for anyone who doesn't do the right thing and pay before the deadline. Now, now, for those who aren't aware, Triller has already tried to file a lawsuit before in the state of California. However, those have been turned over, or like the judge was like, I'm not going to charge $150,000 for somebody who's watched something online. Like the judges have been unable to award settlements to large batches of suspected pirates off the strength of an IP address, essentially saying you can't charge somebody based off the fact that their IP address is on a website that potentially had an illegal stream. And then again, as well, you also cannot do that. But, you know, the law does continue to change.
I give mad props to Triller. That's a funny fucking, like,
yeah,
dude, that just pops me because they're not going to follow through. Like, Triller's got a fucking staff of people to hunt down 2 million illegal streamers. Good rib, Briz.
I mean, what are they going to do? It's like, what are you doing over there in the weeds? I'm resting. I'm resting.
Yeah. Every time, bro. Like, and especially what you're gonna back the Paul brothers, the moral experts of our society instead. Nah, man, it cracks me up. But I am excited with their brand and what they're trying to do to help promote the underground. I love all that shit, but you can't go at the underground. You got to embrace them. But your business model, sure, they probably did lose $40 or $2 million, you know, if it was whatever the price was. But welcome to the information age. You just got to find a way to lock down what you think is a safer way to lock down your pay-per-views, but that's where the focus needs to be, not any other place. So
in 2004, I was 16, and that was probably just right at the beginning when streaming started. Because I remember being in high school and I'd have conversations with my other wrestling friends and be like, is there a way we can find the stream? Is there a way we can find it as kids? So like, and back then they would pop up on maybe Ustream for a good 30, 45 minutes before they get axed or something like that or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, they've been, you know, people have been trying to figure out how to.
Well, here's the where they're missing on the marketing. Sure, you're going to get pirated, what have you. So if you were to find a way to lock stuff down, and that means you're going to get the diehards, but you're going to lose so many people watching your product. And word of mouth is the number one way to market. You know, see you, kiddo. Word of mouth is the number one way to market. So if people are talking about you in the Twitterverse in real time, even if they're stealing shit, that puts more. Is this Beast?
Incoming call here.
Shit, should have called him back. That puts more focus on what you have as a product. Otherwise, people are just going to wait till the next day to download it via BitTorrent and not watch it live, and then you're going to be missed in the live discussion that goes on while people watch in real time. So you're going to lose either way. You might as well accept that and take that more eyes are on your live product and you're getting it, because that will generate more bar buys, more interest in mainstream outside of the underground. Am I off base here in what I'm thinking, guys? It's
tough to, in our position, I'd say, no, you're right on the money. But if it was my company, I'd say, fuck you, Hamin.
I'm just telling you the real, bro. Unless you've got some new Silicon Valley way to fucking block everything, I'm all ears for it. Do you?
I might. Maddie, you may be too young to remember this, but I know Hamin does. Hamin, do you remember how we used to illegally?
Hold on one second. Sorry, Beast, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
We are live right now on Light the Fuse with the Chris Silvio and MSG.
What's up, you bastard?
Yeah, man, we just we're going over Genocide's match. We're about to kick the show in. Exciting news. It looks like the ODB thing is going to go forward, so I'll give you a call after the show and let you know what the update is on that. All right.
Awesome. Sounds good.
All right, dude. You coming back from Rips now, or are you just out making fat lady squat?
No, I have a private pay patient. And I was with him all morning. He had a bunch of appointments. He just got diagnosed with ALS, unfortunately. So I told him I was going to help take him through everything, and he's paying me pretty well. So I've been doing that. So that's why I have my phone off all morning.
All good, man. Make that money and help out those in need. We appreciate you, Beast. I'll give you a shout probably about
Absolutely.
90 minutes from now. Okay, bud?
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Later,
I'll
pal.
see ya.
So,
Peace and health.
so Silvio, climb the pole and jack into the different cable line, or pay the
No,
satellite,
so-
or pay the satellite guy who came out to do your thing, and you pay him extra $100 to give you all the pay-per-views for free.
That is one. The other way, more commonly used, when my mother would not buy me every pay-per-view, like a sensible woman, there was a way where you could put it on the same channel and you would watch a scrambled version of the pay-per-view with audio. I remember watching WrestleMania 9 that way. But there was another way to do it, and this was more bootleg. My uncle always got the pay-per-views in New York. He would tape them on VHS, he would mail it to me, and I would get the pirated version approximately 2 weeks after.
Oh, that's awesome, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I'm
now it's going to be the other way will be those who buy it, get it and download it, and then upload it to how many different sites, right? Of Daily Motion, vidme.nets and all these fucking other little things. So it's a stinger, believe me, knowing that money's out there because of pirates and there's nothing you can do about it, because the internet should be the wide open information pipeline west, and you're going to have to market to the 85% outside of the underground, because the underground are tech savvy, the ones who drive this business that you even have that. So you kind of have to cough that up to the community as the cost of doing business. Your marketing focus needs to be on the 85% Nancy Brown, Wisconsin direct TV holders who just hit buy on the remote. That's how they need to focus on that, and how do they get into those people's pockets, because the tape trader, masturbator, Bixen crew is not paying for it, bro.
Let me ask you this. What do they get out of it? Like, let's say I'm one of these pirates, which I am not. I'm not near tech savvy enough to do that. What do I get out of it if I were to buy it and then put it on stream for hundreds of thousands
Nothing.
to watch?
You get nothing.
So why do they do it?
Because we're tired of being beaten by the cable companies and destroyed for a high price, where they think $64.95 for WWE Backlash. Why? So Braun can get some green slime dropped on him and do an obstacle course. I'm supposed to pay for that in value, just some trash where they went from 4 big pay-per-views to 10 only to pick pockets. And did the price go down because we have 10? So we're going to get you for $4.99 instead of the $19.99. No, price goes up, $49.99. WrestleMania, $75, $120 from the working man, the lowest class people who watch wrestling, people with not a lot of disposable income. And you're going to keep blasting them. Meanwhile, DirecTV price goes from $69 to $140 over the course of 8 years with the worst customer service. RCN gets bought out by Comcast. Spectrum gives the shittiest fucking service ever, but prices go from $40 to $80 on internet. Well, guess what? If I know how to use the internet as a tool, that's exactly what I'm going to do it. And if that means taking out of these greedy, money-hungry media conglomerates, that's how we strike back. And that's one of the few ways that we can, as we're taxed to the gills on everything all the time, bro.
I would think the only benefit of doing it, I guess, if you were uploading content, is there's a couple of YouTubers out there that they upload like condensed versions of like Monday Night Raw, SmackDown.
This is interesting. Go on with this, but read this while you do this. Why not charge $5? And how many people who would have pirated it will go, yeah, I'll go to YouTube and do it that way and get it for $5 instead of being a dick. And, would you rather have $5 or no dollars? Is the offset cost of 20,000 buyers at $65 a piece versus 100,000 buyers at $5 a piece and getting more good faith while everybody else is charging X amount? You're not underselling yourself. Maybe you are, but you're going to be out there with more loyal fans who are more willing to buy, because once you've sold a product to somebody one time, it's 10 times easier to sell to them again. It costs 10 times as much to convert one sale the first time for a business.
So the Wrestling with Reality, I think is what it is on YouTube. They do condensed clips. I think the only benefit to that is obviously you're not going to make monetization off it. It would be like to sell your own brand. Hey, if you like what I do, please buy my t-shirts or hats or whatever. But that's really the only benefit I could see you making money off of it that way.
And the vet trying to be cute here. Hey, Ben, aren't you a media conglomerate? Yeah. How much you paying for this show? Anybody? Okay.
Free 99.
Now you see why my model is different.
Well, guys, let's get into some AEW information and news, and let's get into the review here. So AEW last week, some of their numbers, they were down 889,000, and that was down from the previous 1.04 of the 21st, and then 1.219 on the 14th. We forgot to note last week that there was a presidential State of the Union address, whatever. That potentially could have hurt the viewership again. But that's also another way you could, I don't know, make an excuse as well. So I guess we'll really see if the million bounces back or if Biden had a big effect on it the previous week. AEW YouTube viewers.
Excuse if they don't. That's this week is an interesting thing, right? The pay-per-view coming off of that, and we'll talk about the finish. But what if they don't go back up over 1 million and they can't blame it on Sleepy Joe? They don't have a get out of jail free card. I hope they're back up to 1.2 million. I'm not saying, I hope you're not. But what if they aren't? Then
they have to be at least 1 million just on the blood and guts alone. I would be shocked if they were under 1 million.
Shocked me. Yeah, I would be too. But what if it is? So
if it is, they got problems.
Especially because it wasn't a bad show, too.
What's that? What's that conversation is what I'm getting. I'm not trying to do aha gotchas, but if the numbers aren't there, then what is the conversation that needs to be had?
It's to assess what we're doing and say, okay, this area clearly isn't working. This area worked for us in the past. Mm-hmm. It's just readjusting strategy, man. As a coach, I do this all the time. I'll be trying to take someone in one direction and realize their strengths really lie somewhere else. So I have to know enough to switch that course and say, okay, well, I initially had this in mind for you. You're better suited for this. It just takes the balls and the foresight to be able to do that instead of digging in your heels and saying, no, what I'm doing is ultimately going to work. You can't be afraid to adjust strategies.
Maddie, did you see the I watch every segment and the quarterly breakdown and minute by minute, and that's how I booked the show. Going like that, the OCD, ADHD, Asperger's was like working overtime in that fucking thing, and that's a big problem. If that's him as an analytics guy, I know that's what he loves and what clicks with him, but that's what he's going to look at is to try and be the reason to solve it. And no answer that he is going to extrapolate from that data is going to solve getting them and keeping them over $1 million. Because really, the greatest wrestling booker is a kindergartner when it comes to booking wrestling still. And no little, money ball breakdown is going to help get the show to that.
I will say in regards to the Joe Biden thing, I see a couple people in the comments saying that nobody watched that. If you do check out the ratings, so Silvio watched it. I was going to say, if you do check out the ratings, though, they're all the top 5 are all news networks from last Wednesday because it was all covering this speech, and
but also much like the Oscars, the lowest rated speech in years. Meltzer only gave it 2 stars. That it was bad.
Right. I'm just my argument was based on the ratings. People did watch. Millions of people did watch.
60 million, I believe, was the number.
26.9 says Boy Meets World, but they also watch Boy Meets World, so I wouldn't trust anything.
Yeah. So there you go. But 26.9 is still a heck of a lot of people watching something. That being said,
right.
What? Sorry.
But if you're talking about extrapolating more data hourly, why aren't the Jaguars and Fulham both over as well? Here's what the argument is. You're stretched way too thin, Briz. You also don't listen to people or go to people around you that obviously have infinite wisdom in how a show needs to be booked because you keep stepping on your own business. You keep doing plotty predicated stuff and putting people on TV that aren't drawing and you're not using the talent that you have to their highest capacity to draw a Miro, a Jake Hager, along those lines who should be individual stars, even Murder Hawk, or what we saw with Luchasaurus punching out Sting, or having Sting and interrupting 13 of his promos. What do the quarter hour, minute by minute say about interrupting promos from the guy you just paid fucking way too much money for? Nothing. That's because we need to learn about putting an entire experience of a show from beginning to end together, learn how to cliffhang, they don't know how to get a singles wrestler over. There's not one. Oh, Cody's the only one, and he's got himself over.
Darby as well.
Yeah, but if you were to go out there and shout any of these people's names at the supermarket, how many people are going to know who they are?
It's a tough call. Probably not many unless you're already a wrestling fan.
And then that's our problem, isn't it? That's the conversation.
Yes, it is to an extent. You're correct. Like in the 90s, everybody knew who Rock and Stone Cold were. But they may not have known who Billy Gunn and Road Dogg were, but it doesn't make Billy Gunn and Road Dogg any lesser of a star.
Well, there's
that analogy has two points.
There's a chance they would have heard DX from the marketing and the branding. They might not know him by name, but they've seen the guy who's ass man and shakes his ass when I don't want that on my TV when your grandma walks through. But she really wants it. A lot of butt talk on this show today.
A lot of butt stuff going on. Friends with Benedict's kind of episode.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the answer, boys, I've got a short answer for this. All it is consistency. Have consistent, good shows every week without throwing too much out there. Don't hot shot and just make it have a little more mainstream appeal. Like you said, you got the Miros back there. You got the Lance Archers.
Tell the being the elite stories on TV. That's just one major thing we need to start doing.
Let me ask you this, Ben. If I had a restaurant and you decided to come and try it out, and if you had 3 good meals there in a row, do you think you'd be likely to return a 4th time?
And I'm telling people, you got to check out Silvio's place, man. Really?
Now, if you bring that group of friends, everyone has a bad meal. You say, "Oh, fuck it, it's an off night." You come back 2 more times and the meals are bad. You ain't coming back.
No.
So we have to have a more mainstream approach with consistency. I dig the show. AEW and NWA are my favorite wrestling shows to watch. NWA Power. But we just need that consistency every week, and that's how we'll keep the number above 1 million.
I like it. We'll see what the number is probably by the time we're off this afternoon here. So hoping for the best, but they got a lot of, they're 0-2 on their big gimmick matches that are built up. And then the very last thing is what we go home with, right? So, and we got sparklers and we got landing on a MyPillow. That's we got fake diamond plate, foam core. And to be honest with you, a lot of heat's on these tech guys. They're catching them talking. They're catching them looking. They're catching spot set up.
Jericho at the end spot where he's laying there and his eye comes open, he smiles, and then the camera's on me. Like that's
even
not Jericho's fault.
Before he chucked him off, fucking he says something to MJF while he's down. MJF leans down and goes, "What'd you say?" He looks up and says it to him. They capture it all up close, bro. They don't even they're just really not protecting the boys and not protecting the business with their cuts and what they're doing. And that means to me, they're not running through them in pre-production, making sure everybody is where they need to be, so we don't expose that he fell on foam, that we don't
no, that's I would argue with they do go through pre-production. Cody told them that QT Marshall was going to get exposed, right? How the hell do you do a live mosaic cover up in the middle of the show like that? Unless you know that's coming.
Because we do get Dax's ass in the main event, so clearly they didn't know Dax's ass was coming out.
Yeah,
a lot of butt stuff today.
A lot of butt stuff going on.
Also,
but we're 0-2 on our biggest gimmick matches in taking it home. And what are we leaving the audience with? Sparklers and not protecting the guys of the illusion that he actually landed on something devastating, And the other part of that too, the end of that match is terrible with, "I'm going to throw him off." No, we give up. Remember in the promo last week when they said, "You're going to have to kill me. You're going to have to do this, that." And now we're waving the coward's flag. That's the exact opposite of you're going to have to kill me and leave me laying. If anything, it should have been fucking he's going to hit Jericho off, back body drop, MJF takes the fucking bump, and then Jericho fuck it and drops it on him, and they're both dead, and we get a no finish. Would have been better that way in an oh my god spot, or they both go off in Taz Bam Bam Bigelow through the fucking ECW thing. So they could have landed on something softer, but we're not exposing that, you know, from the shot that, oh, it's obviously fake diamond plate rubber gym mat shit, and fucking, and he landed on a big porta pit piece of foam. You got to have this shit thought out well ahead of time of how you're going to do the David Copperfield illusion that was devastating, but we can't expose to the crowd why it's actually phony. They know it is. They know it's a stunt show, but if you're showing them landing on a fucking crash pad, real wrestling fans are going, what is this backyard bullshit? After they just killed each other, everyone killed everyone for 35 minutes. We send them home with a waka feeling in their mouth. And then the show is also taped without the audience there, pre-tape, and the guy offers them a goddamn refund, bro. Not good optics. That is not good optics.
About the refund.
Supposedly the parts of the show were filmed before the audience was there. So if you paid for a ticket, came into Daly's place, you only got pretty much the main event. It was either the main event was filmed before or the first hour was without some fans. So it must have been the main event. So people were fucking hot, and they were like, we'll give them a refund. It was 1,500 people. What's that mean to a billionaire, I guess?
Has this been verified? Where'd you get this from? Because this is the first I've heard.
It was on the sheets all morning, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's interesting that now that you bring that up, because that makes more sense to me from an editing standpoint. Because like, you know, I just went through school, guys. I didn't get taught how to do a live nude mosaic cover up in the middle of a broadcast. I didn't see that on the board anywhere, or control graphics, how to censor out. And then like I went down a rabbit hole after the show, and I started like researching things. I was like, you know, the Janet Jackson nip slip, every time WWE has nudity live, I'm like, there's no way to put up a mosaic like that live, and you have to cut away.
Here we go. Notes from 401mania.com. Note on how many people got refunds for Dynamite, how long ago the episode was taped. It was reported last night that Tony Khan appeared before the crowd at last night's AEW Dynamite, noting that the first hour of the show was pre-taped and would be shown on the video screen to the crowd. He said that anyone who wanted a refund for the event could get one. The crowd noise for the first hour came from the crowd watching the show on the video screen. In the last... popovers. In the latest Observer, Meltzer-Seltzer noted that the first hour was taped with no fans a couple weeks ago, as setting up the cage takes time, and they couldn't do it live in the amount of time they had for Dynamite. This is why when the tickets were advertised, it was promoted as a one-match show, because those who bought tickets only got one live match. It was noted that AEW gave a total of 5 refunds for the show, which had an attendance of 1,500 fans. So he gave back $100. What a nice guy.
I was gonna say, like, why would you even mention, like, if you're billing it as you're buying a ticket to see the blood and guts match, why would you even mention you can have a refund if you want?
It's
bought a ticket to that match.
Yeah, that's a $20. I mean, maybe people are paying.
Look, yeah, I'd pay $50 as a fan to see that match.
So Cujo noted that the live show started with Omega and the Cassidy stuff. So that's where, and that makes sense because they were standing in front of the cage. And that also makes sense. I was watching the show going, why isn't the cage set up? And the only thing I was like, well, they are in an open arena, so you can't really hang it. But that makes more sense that it took them that long to set it all up.
Yeah, man. Sorry, just
a couple of things to wrap up here. Just some YouTube numbers. AEW Dynamite YouTube numbers last week was up. They had 2.9 million. That was up from 1.8. The most viewed was the parlay between the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle, which had 600,000 views. The least viewed video was the Chris Statlander versus Penelope Ford match, which had 80,000. And their average viewership was 220,000. All right, so let's get into AEW Dynamite. I didn't load the pre-music thing, so whatever. Let's just talk about the opening match.
Japanese.
There you go.
So, they did the opening package, commentary starts up, and we get announced that we're starting with Kenny Omega and Michael Nakazawa taking on Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. We head down to the ring. Michael Nakazawa and Don Callis come out. And they're, of course, in their behind-the-scenes work clothes, complete with the headset. Don Callis calls the Dapper Yapper Justin Robert. He cuts him off as he was doing the prolonged Kenny Omega ring introduction. Callis informs us at first that Kenny Omega is unable to make this event tonight, which the commentators quickly point out is untrue. And they've already seen him in the back. And regardless, Callis tells us that Nakazawa will now be handling this match by himself. So as Kingston and Mox are coming out, Kenny Omega with a swerve attacks them from behind, and that's how the match starts out with them. Kind of make you think that Omega was not going to be joining them. However, he does join the match. They had the advantage early on. Mox and Kingston then end up fighting back. Eventually, though, the winner of this match was Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston, as Omega threw his hands up in the air at one point in the match, walked out, and then Mox finished Nakazawa off, and they picked up the victory. So the winner's match, Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. What'd you think of this match, Silvio, to start off AEW? Did you like them starting off with the champ?
It reminded me of an Al Snow segment. I mean, you've worked with me many times and then seen my work after. Me as just thinking of me as a wrestler, when I step into a ring, what do you think my goal is as Chris Silvio when I step into the ring to have a match? What do I want to do or show everybody?
Well, you want to show emotion and most of all, but you're always sexy and athletic.
I want to have a great match, right? So yeah. Al Snow would book all these segments where you weren't supposed to have a great match because we were going to do something after, and the match was a backdrop to what we were going to do after. Mm-hmm. And it always drove me crazy because anytime I'm in the ring, I want to have a good match. I don't give a fuck what the backdrop is. I love Al. I've learned a lot from him, but I always fought with him on that area. That's what I felt this match was. It was just a backdrop to get the Bullet Club running in at the end and putting the beat down to Eddie and Moxley, presumably to set up a match against the Good Brothers, maybe at the pay-per-view. That's going to be my speculation. So it was what it was. The match wasn't incredible because I don't think it was designed to be. I think the purpose of this was to get the Young Bucks out in their Frank Costanza cabana wear, and which was cool. I'll give Matt Jackson a few points on that. Mm-hmm. But that's what it was, man. It was a match there meant to further an angle and set up heat. So I can't really critique it. You know, it was wacky.
Yeah, I got a problem with Nakazawa coming out in street clothes, and he knew he was going to be in the match, but we got a laptop. Like, what is this? Another being the elite inside producer joke that nobody's getting, that it's just for 6 people that they think the world's watching. No one gets it. And it also, if you're going to be in a match versus the top guys, then you would be ready to go, not jumping around like a dumbass jackass. So this is more making fun of wrestling again, instead of, this is playing wrestler instead of being the top guys and being wrestler. I didn't like this segment. I thought that the strikes were very phony and I'm surprised I felt like Moxley and Kingston weren't into this because they're like, this segment sucks.
Same reason I would tell you about the Al Snow matches when I had to put on a bullshit match to get to an angle.
Yeah, and I'll say this because I love you. You're wrong in that there because you need to deliver what your director and producer wants because
I would because it's their company.
And I get it. And they didn't, and they're on main TV, and it was apparent to me Nakazawa's strikes are piss poor. The kicks he was trying to lay in were business exposing bad. There were things in the corner. They're at least doing things like heels get heat on the guys in the corner with the flying back elbow. Babies get back on top and do the flying knees, the same thing in there. So the psychology of what they're doing was fine with me there, but I just didn't feel the emotion and passion from Moxley and Kingston coming through in this. And I feel like they're beating the back. Now, what happened with Bullet Club at the end, getting the heat and whatnot, that I was fine with. But this poses the bigger question because the big underground is Moxley going back to WWE. And if they're putting him in segments like this and he knows his value, like we're talking with Jenna, and especially if Daniel Bryan's contract's up and like the buzz is there, well, is he going to already be out the door and just one day go, I'm done here, kind of, instead of finishing up? Also, the extended John
Oh my
Moxley.
God, that was so annoying.
It's not cool. This is where going to the nerds for their little fucking things that'll pop you, the neck beard, 40 to 35-year-olds that still live at home with mom, that they think that's cute for, again, 3 to 4% of your audience. That is not going to get you and keep you above 1 million playing to them. And that's a big conversation that they need to have as well. It exposes them as playing wrestler again, because now I don't take John Moxley seriously, even in his entrance, because he's not coming out there and being a part of that and doing it. He's just trying to be himself. And guys aren't in as good a shape as they were a month ago. I'll say that too.
Let me ask you this. I mean, I'm not arguing that point with you, but what's the difference between that, John Moxley, and say Bruce Buffer on UFC, the way he announces everyone? For example, it would be Ben Hamin.
I agree, but now does that guy do that for what's his name? Who left?
John! And then that's just
he's making a mock. He's going into business for himself there to have his own shit. Is it Justin Roberts' time to shine? No. Is it Justin Roberts doing that for everybody on the show? Nope. So now we're doing a carny fucking tongue-in-cheek to get all the fucking tape trader masturbators in the crowd to start doing that as a little cutesy fucking thing. And that's not who Moxley is. He's James Dean. He's Rebel without a fucking cause. He's not sing a long time with Mox. He's killing the cool for the nerds because it's Sting, this fucking thing that they're trying to do with them that way. It's wrong, and it's for a very small percentage, and that is not a good business move when you are on the downward to placate to them.
Classic movie. Go watch Rebel Without a Cause. I watched that movie when I was in 6th grade in my film society class. Great movie. But yes, after the match wraps up, we see AEW Tag Team Champions, the Young Bucks, walking out of the entrance tunnel. They serve as a distraction as the Good Brothers cop up from behind, start beating them down. Then Nick and Mac Jackson join them in the ring, help them gang up. Finally, the AEW champion himself, Kenny Omega, makes his way back out. He enters the mix. They beat down Mox and Kingston, wrapping things up when Omega hits his one-winged angel on Mox, and they did a fake follow-up pin. And then we went to commercial break. So yeah, you had Matt Jackson in the all Cabana outfit, which I thought was funny. Did the super kick without the shoes, which I liked seeing that. I was like, oh yeah, foot connected with face. That was good to see. And yeah, this was just another follow up for the Elite. For those who don't watch Being the Elite, the Young Bucks last week made it clear to the Good Brothers that we're not doing the two sweets anymore. That's old. Now it's the Elite, the Elite. And this week they were on board with that, so everybody was doing that.
I mean, watch Being the Elite this week. He told me.
Oh, I can't get enough of it. I fucking watch them all.
Don't stop till you get enough, and you won't.
So come on, Jamamli. So QT Marshall versus Cody Rhodes was up next. We returned from break. QT comes out. He comes out with his clique, if you will. And then Cody comes out with the enforcer, Arn Anderson. At one point in time, Arn Anderson gets eliminated, gets kicked out of the ring, gets told to leave because he took a shot at QT Marshall on the outside.
Well, QT took a shot at him first, and he gave him retribution. So it was nothing that bad. But I think I like Arn's getting in a little bit of shape too. Arn looks like he's dropped about 10, 15 pounds. And I hope he continues on that road. But I liked the Arn fucking tuning him up tight inside that way. This was the best match on the show. Cody's new gear. I'm not sure if it's something video game related. I know a lot of stuff he's done in the past. He loves Zelda and that shit. But I thought he looked like a fucking $1 million here, man. The new boots, the new gear. And dude, I got to put this over after seeing Nakazawa. And then, I mean, I know Kingston can throw a good punch, but he was throwing bad ones, and we all can sometimes. And then Moxley was throwing really bad, those knees that are missing, and it's on, again, heat's on production because they got him from the side angle. They're not protecting how it should look there. So right in the beginning of the show, we're business exposing bad from the top guys on your roster. Can't have it. Then we go to this match. It's OVW 101. Fundamentally sound. There were some pins that were out of place, especially on the finish. I was like, wow, that's a weird place to have the finish pin that looking that way away from the camera back towards the tunnel. If you got that, you should be going, we did something not right here. But dude, QT's punches are fucking really good, dude. Like really good. And Cody was right on time with everything there. There wasn't anything overbooked in this because the main event is going to do everything. So I was expecting them to go into biz for themselves a little bit more here as we saw the Twitter. Did you see the Twitter bullshit they did earlier in the week, Sil?
I refrain from Twitter and bullshit.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you know, this is Buddy's story, broken up or what have you. And Cody's stunting, you know, like he needs to in People Magazine or whatever it is. But QT bought, I don't know what kind of car it was, like a Lotus or something crazy. Dream car, and like to rub it in the fan's face like a heel would, like, I'm living the life you never could dream of. And then Cody comes over the top and says, yeah, you bought that car after you asked your best friend for a loan for the down payment. And then it was like little dick energy and all this type of shit on there.
Nice.
Like he went, it went in stiff. So I was expecting this fucking match to kind of be more blood and guts. And when it wasn't, and it was a clean finish, I was like, good on those guys saving everything for the main event, dude. That proved to be more. When I say about crafting the whole show, if we would have had blood and guts right there, what we saw in the main wouldn't have. And they did that on NXT this week. They opened with a fucking Leon Ruff, who this was. You got to watch that match with him and Swerve. It was fucking.
Yeah, well, I like Swerve a lot too.
Yeah,
me too. And then they close with the girls doing hardcore. So the opener doesn't mean you don't have the whole experience anymore. But after that main one, Grimes came out and fought this other kid, man, who did, they had a match very similar to what Cody and QT had here. Big respect to all four of those guys on either show, because you have that follow that segment. Okay, we will. And we're going to wrestle within these four corners here and not go outside and do a bunch of extra shit. Very selfless and helps out the overall experience for the audience of the show of what they get to see. I had to put that over, and it was the best match on the show, Cody and QT this week.
Before finishing up this match, I was just going to also point out, you mentioned Moxley, and let's go back to that. When he came out, I kind of got a WWE vibe, just how he looked. I was expecting him to do a rock back in that match, to be quite honest.
He seemed like a different dude, and to me, he's already 1 foot out the door.
Well, and then you talk about the announcing as well. Just another point out here. It seems like Justin Roberts does the big time announces for the big stars, because then Cody was next, right? And he did the big American Nightmare Cody, right? So that maybe that's just kind of his Justin's shtick as he's
maybe, man. I feel like he's going into biz for himself. Maybe they want that. Maybe they want to make him Bruce Buffer.
They probably want it, and they probably have him do it for all the big time stars.
I don't think it works.
So we get the match, and as you mentioned, this was a really good match from top to bottom. I was into the match. I didn't take my eyes off the screen, so I thought they both did a really good job of doing it. Cody got opened up the hard way, so there wasn't any razor blades pulling out of his, and you didn't see any camera shots of that. So he got busted up, and it was a good visual, I thought, for the end of the match. One thing that bothers me still. Can't start off by showing me somebody's 12-0 and then tell me he's not the number one contender, unless these are college rules. Like, establish to me that if you're wrestling on Dark, that those wins don't count as much as the wins on Dynamite or something.
Who are you referring to?
QT Marshall, 12-0, undefeated in the last 15 matches. It says right on this thing when he starts, but he's not the number one contender. But then on the flip side, you go to the tag team. And
why is Pac number one contender?
Well, I was going to say on the flip side,
why is Orange Cassidy number 2 or 1 contender?
If you go to the flip side, you go to the tag team division, where they mention that the Hollywood Blondes have won the last 5 matches and they're the number 4 contenders. So I'm like, so some matches count more on Dark than others. It's very confusing. You need to establish some sort of FCS Give me FBS. I'm sorry. Give me some sort of college committee that's going to tell me then. Otherwise, stop putting it up on the screen that they're 12-0.
There needs to be a weekly power rankings thing that they do.
There is a weekly power rankings thing. They
do you see it in their Twitter? Does it come out in their Twitter?
It does. It does. They'll tweet it out. They'll be like, "Here's this week's weekly rankings."
All right, well, because it's not really being a part of anything. We're just expected. Remember, wins matter. Oh, okay, sure they do. You know, I forgot that Cody got color there, so never mind. I take back everything nice I said about him.
It was a hard way, so it doesn't count.
No,
I agree with you. I mean, I like this one in particular. I like the back end. I thought as they built from the middle of the match towards the finish, it got really, really good. QT can work, man. Like a lot of people would say some things about QT, like because he's Cody's friend, which is the crux of this whole angle, right? Basically implying like QT wouldn't be in his position if it wasn't for such and such. But he showed last night, motherfucker knows what he's doing. He knows how to work.
Yeah. Especially a simple style when everybody else is doing overbooked shit. Like
that's what I want. That's what I want to see. Great wrestling. The only one, it's a nitpick thing. I wish QT would have just put his foot on the rope when Cody gave him the crossroads. He was close enough to do it. Just for my heart.
Too.
Right? And QT knows that. He's a good heel. He gets it. Yeah. But hey, if Cody's going to let you kick out of his finish, fucking kick out of the thing. Where it gets weird, though, Hamin, is I felt like, this match may not have been the match to have on the Blood and Guts card for that reason that we can't have Blood and Guts in this match if we're doing it later. And also, this match I don't think should have taken place on TV either. Like, these were both pay-per-view. We'll discuss this as we break the show down. Both of these matches were pay-per-view matches. Cody and QT blowing off this feud, as well as the Blood and Guts. Those are both pay-per-view matches. I understand why they put Blood and Guts on TV to pop the rating, but as far as Cody and QT, now either the story's done and that's it. It's over now, or QT's got to get his heat back in some very violent and meaningful way.
I was thinking that's what they missed. So that's why I like this match being in the ring, because I thought there was a pre-tape coming later, and all we needed was a 45-seconder here, so where he's getting that stitched up right there, or just about to, and QT comes rushing in, bings him right in, and Savage on Hogan in the back, right?
That's the exact thing I was thinking, dude. Mega Powers exploding.
You don't think that based on after the match that this was the setup for Anthony Ogogo? Because I mean, after the match, just
who the fuck wants to see Anthony Ogogo versus Cody Rhodes?
Well, that seems like what they're trying to set up.
Who wants to? Who's gonna buy 5 tickets to see that? Get out of here.
Well, I maybe their mindset is they've got a very large UK market, and Anthony Ogogo is a UK medalist, so maybe that plays well into their demographics, what they're thinking.
I like your point there, Matt, but here's the problem. They don't know how to make singles wrestlers in AEW. And what they've done with one little dumb gut punch, I don't care if the guy's an Olympic boxer, that means he'd be able to go and fucking hit anybody one time. It's not believable. It's just not there, and the setups aren't there. They're not making this guy the right way. Even though there's money written all over him, Khan does not know how to do that. There's only one guy they've really gotten over, and it's Cody. And Moxley can get himself over too to some degree, but from what I saw earlier tonight, I think the passion for the bullshit, it just isn't there, man. So it's not going to draw. And this guy shouldn't be facing Cody Rhodes out of the gate, bro. And he maybe could have if they would have set up the spot with Mike Tyson, putting him over, but he's not made. Those are the things when I say, this is how you make a singles wrestler. Those are the shines that need to go along on the side, on the path till we get to that point and do that. But it's not happening, Jackson.
I know you like to always blame Canada, but I don't put the heat on Tony. Matt like that one. I don't put the heat on Tony Khan for the gut punch thing. I think one of the producers, I don't know which one, but one of the producers was behind that. What it needs to be, if you're going to do the gut punch, cool, do it. But then you need the face shot. He needs the knockout shot for this.
You got to leave your chin out there to get fucking blasted. And yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, we're just doing phony. I mean, and we'll talk about it in the Britt Baker match coming up next.
Don't you dare besmirch the good name of Britt Baker.
No, Britt did fine. Beautiful young lady who she wrestled. Way too green to be on TV, bro.
Before we get there, we had a video package showing the post match of last week between Sting and Darby Allin from Scorpio Sky, and
this was bad too.
Beating on them. So we go up to the rafters where Scorpio Sky starts off by addressing Sting. He closes out his rant by calling he's like, "Showtime's over, Steve, and you're a bitch," or "Showtime's over, Steve, you bitch."
He said something like, "I'm the icon now, bitch."
I'm the icon now, bitch. Yeah, all ego. Ethan Page then gets his turn to talk, and finally they gave Ethan Page a mic here in TNT, and you go, "Wow, I forgot how good Ethan Page got to promo. Right. They haven't given him a fucking mic since he's been here." So I liked how he started out, how he went, nobody gives a shit about some indie matches that nobody's ever seen. So I'm not going to go over our storied history like that. I liked that. But I did like the fact that he pointed out that he kind of gave some context to why Darby wears face paint. He's wearing face paint because I hit him with a freaking shovel and left a weld in his head. And then this went weird because Darby Allin attacked them out of nowhere. And then Darby, after he's beaten up, is thrown down some stairs, which, I mean, if you get thrown down some stairs, I don't know how realistic it is he would come back the next week feeling fine. But yeah, it ends with Ethan Page chucking Darby Allin down. Sorry, Scorpio Sky chucking Darby Allin down the stairs.
I just don't understand how they. Well, I do, because he doesn't know what he's doing on how to get individuals over. We have Grab the Brass Ring, Scorpio Sky. Everybody wants him to be the babyface IC guy, like Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. That's who he should be. Like that same vein of mid-carder that everybody's pumped, who can do great things. Instead, they go to Lane Bryant and buy some women's blouses, and now they're cutting stereotypical wrestling promos that we have to get bitch in to try and do it. No, it's not working at all. It's not, dude. Like my Aunt Esther had that same blouse that fucking he was wearing in this promo. So I'm like,
if it had ended with the promos, would you been okay with this segment?
I kind of liked. I mean, even though this is Khan giving them wrestle talk type shit that's not natural, just let them be natural. Both these guys are aces. There's money on both of them. Anything words you're putting in their mouth is going to water them down. I hit you in the head with a shovel. You've got a dent. That's why you need face paint. What?
I don't think he said that. I think Matt said
that.
I
knew that. I knew that. No, he didn't actually say he hit him with the shovel. That's just me knowing Darby and Ethan Page's history. That's all.
No, he said that.
He didn't. He said, "I'm the reason why you wear face paint. I'm the reason why you have a plate in your elbow." He did not say that.
There was a thing about the shovel gimmick in there. I got to believe that, because, Matt, you just saying that.
Looking for a shovel. I mean, I know.
Right, well, I mean, it's whatever. But what I liked is Darby coming in hot and breaking that up with action. That's when we say show don't tell, that's it. Because we had predicated plotty bullshit, wrestle talk, yada yada yada. This means nothing. I'm the best. You're not. Boom! A cruise missile comes in and blows up the bunker. Boom!
I think actually he is right. It does get mentioned, but it was Excalibur on commentary during the beatdown that they mentioned the shovel. So it wasn't Ethan Page. Just to clear that up, it wasn't Ethan Page who actually said it.
I think he did say it. Okay.
Head rattled.
And then to throw him down the steps is the skateboard bump. Any skater worth their salt's taking that, and Darby can come back from that last week. You will be shaken up and be like, fuck, that sucked, but you're going to get back up and try and ollie that 7-step again. You might fucking bust your ass, but that's how stupid skateboarders are and what they do. So I liked that we ended on action. I don't need like, here's my Dior shoes and put your face on them because they're spiky. Like, just throw the motherfucker down the steps. We know what the spot is coming. Let's get to it. But anything that you do to Ethan Page to give him a script, aside from letting him know his business, you are handcuffing him. He can do it. Just let him go. And definitely break these guys up. Because Scorpio Sky is your baby face that people want to get over. He is a natural baby. He is athletic, and he's in the perfect time to be your well-spoken minority, whatever you want, that's not playing, I'm a hip hopper, I'm fucking party boys. He's just Scorpio Sky, badass motherfucking wrestler who can get it done in the Intercontinental title fucking run. That's what
And the most confusing part too about Scorpio Sky, I mean, we saw we did see the heel turn, if you will, in the ring. However, we never saw a follow-up with SCU. Christopher Daniels, Kazarian, what's going on, man? Blah, blah. We never saw that follow-up. It was just 1 week he was a good guy, the next week he flipped, and now he's not in SCU. So they dropped the ball with the explanation there on why he's not even in, where's his friends? I don't know.
That's what I meant earlier about the consistency week to week of the programming. I love this segment. I wasn't happy like you were when they paired Paige and Sky together because they're each standalone guys. But now that they are together, I want to see them make the best of it and make it work. But no, this segment was great. I thought they both delivered good promos. And when Darby came in, motherfucker came in hot and real. Darby is committed. Like we were talking about with Genocide being in the role. Darby, I don't think Darby might not even know anymore the difference between the performer and the guy who drives home. He just came in like a maniac, and I was like, man, I hope they don't have Darby beat up both of them. So when I see him get cut off, I was like, yes, I'm with it. Then he takes the crazy bump down the steps, and then later on the show, we find out where this is all going to lead. I loved it. I thought that was brilliant storytelling.
Yeah,
Next week, is he going to be able to come back? And look who the fuck he's got to face. Holy shit. Right. So, it was very well done. Good job.
We'll definitely get into that there. So let's talk about the match next. Dr. Britt Baker taking on Julia Hart. I like the fact that JR told you right away, she's not from Calgary, folks.
Then why? Why are you allowing her to have that name? Because that's instantly what people think, and especially if you spell it that way. So now we go, oh, this is the new Hart. Is she Brett's niece? Oh, she's not related. Never mind. Why the fuck is she using that name? That's stupid. That in 3 seconds, that's the what you gave your audience that feeling by not changing her name before she went out there.
Shout out to my friend John Hart, who actually is related to the Hart family. The bell sounds, they get off running. Baker immediately jumps. Early offensive. This is a quick match. This was just to get Britt Baker over, right? To get her ready for her pay-per-view. I'm sorry, for her championship match against Sheeta. Pay-per-view match at Double or Nothing. Baker won. Quick match, lockjaw submission. She put on the glove and made her tap out.
Yeah, we got to talk. This girl, Julia Hart, is very cute. Very easy on the eyes. Has the sex appeal. Shouldn't be on TV, bro. We open the match. She starts to go for the lockup. What's Britt do?
I think she shoved her off or cut
her off and kicks her in the stomach. The girl stands there and just stands there waiting for the next thing, dude. And like, there's no sell away. It looked and then boom, goes shoot her off, hits her again. She's looking right at her just with their hands on her heads without emoting, no selling as we get into things. We can't have people this amateur on our show. She's got a great look, but she's got to go to Seidel Dojo for the next 18 months and really learn this craft because it was business exposing bad. And Britt does look strong, and Britt looks the most competent because after that QT and Cody pin where I was like, they're way out of place. Britt's got her set up perfectly for the floor cam so Britt can get her facial in, make sure she's got the hook in. I'm going, that's pro shit right there. That's better than what you're seeing in any one of these matches in NXT of where they can get them into the right spot for the vision of what people are seeing at home. So that saved it at the end. But no matter how good looking or how young this young lady looked, it was a really bad sell on everything that she did. Or no, it was really not a no sell, but she thought she was selling. But she's just standing there with her mouth agape, holding one part of her body and waiting for the next thing. Not good.
It was an incorrect sell as opposed to
incorrect sell. Yes. Yeah.
I don't like to come on here and say something is fact that I can't verify 100%. But what I've heard about this young lady, Julia Hart, I think is what they call her, is that she's a nightmare school student who clearly is very new. And I also heard that might have been her first match. I cannot verify whether that's true or not.
Would you do that? So why would
I don't know. So don't put the heat on me.
I know. Even if it was a 10th match, why would you put her on TV?
I agree. Do not put people on TV. that
She's
are not
got
ready.
money on her. She's very attractive. She's got a good look. Her gear looked good. She might need to do something with her hair because it was in her face while she's trying to sell.
Why didn't Britt Baker wrestle Serena Deeb last night? Like, I don't. Why isn't Britt Baker getting?
Because she needs a get over match in 2 minutes, and you can't do a get over.
I'm just saying but the argument I'm making is they've got all these good wrestlers that are there, but they're putting out all these green stars on TV.
Penelope Ford would have been the one to do the get over on last.
That would have been better. At least that would have looked good.
I agree with you, Matt. And here's my only qualm with it. It was a quick get over to get Britt. I'm a big fan of Britt. So yeah, let Britt kill people. Here's my big qualm is that on their 2-hour show last night, the women got 2 minutes. They do have some good talent back there. Why can we not, for just one show, have 2 women's matches? If you want to do that business with Britt, cool. It only took 3 minutes from entrances to her out of there. Fine, give Britt a squash. But then take Chris Statlander and a Serena. Thunder Rosa was present doing Spanish commentary. Give me Statlander versus Rosa.
That could have been the whole Omega segment that was awful as well.
We had Kenny later in a promo, so that would have worked. I mean, but I'm as an advocate for women's wrestling and women that are talented and deserve a spot. I don't like how they pigeonhole the ladies into you get one match no matter what. This is your thing. Like, fucking give them some time, man.
So we shoot to the latest installment of Taz breaking down the the techniques and the in-ring action. And this was great.
Pop me, bro.
I
like when Taz is burying Christian's footwork.
Yeah, it's great.
You know that was an inside rib.
I laughed hard. And I like the little yellow, jaundice overlay to make it look like throwback tape breakdown. I think that's a good look. Production-wise, I thought that looked cool.
Yeah, so Taz breaks down Christian Cage. He talks about how if Christian Cage would open up his arms more off of the frog splash, he would get bigger impact. And then he talked about how Christian Cage trying to hit the what's his finisher? I don't know, they changed.
Kill switch.
I'm sorry, the kill switch on Brian Cage, was it?
Frankie Kazarian.
Sorry, on Kazarian. And he tells him that says the first 2 times didn't work because of his footwork, and then the 3rd time he does hit it. And then they show Powerhouse Hobbs dominating Christian, even though Christian wins that match. And Taz puts over that same fact and puts over the fact that Brian Cage, of course, beats the #1 contender as well. So it's a good little segment. It reminds me of those old school, ESPN, Fox Sports Net science thing, the science, if you will. So I like that, sports science. We then go to a 4-way tag team eliminator match. This match will decide who will be the #1 contender. However, I knew SCU wasn't going to lose in a 4-way match because if they lose their match, they're breaking up. And they also last week had them point out the fact that they were going to win and take on the Young Bucks. So kind of going into this match, I knew
that he came out in the Freddie Mercury thing. I thought we were beyond that. And as soon as I see that shit, they were so serious and real last week. And now we're back to this fucking Carney version. I'm just like, come on, give me some character credibility. They build equity, and then they pull the carpet out right from underneath them the next week with the choices they make.
He wears it though every time, bro. He's worn it every match he's had.
Yeah, but I thought after last week it was a more serious, we're gonna fuck you up, Bucks, and instead he came back out as I'm the leader of the marching band.
So would you prefer something?
Just come out in gear.
Take the jacket off. It's just
if he didn't have the jacket on, I wouldn't be bitching at all. As soon as I see that, I'm like, back to Carney. Wrestling's phony. We're all playing stupid characters. You'd never wear that to go grocery shopping. It's just like.
What about if he went the route from like Michael Jackson Bad instead of Freddie Mercury?
No, because he's Chris Daniels, who has all of the credibility. Yeah, he has all the credibility in the world already. He doesn't have to do no fucking Carney character spots anymore. We've seen his entire career. When Chris Daniels steps up, you better be ready to wrestle. That's all I need from him.
So we get the entrances. They're coming out. Something I wanted to ask you, Ben. Max Caster, during his Acclaim promo, at the end of it, said the 2 young cucks, and then he said, "Yeah, I said it," and that. I couldn't stop thinking about that specific line. Yeah, I said it. I'm like, why would you say that you said it? Or why would
who was he saying it to, though?
I don't know.
The Bucks, I guess.
Was he saying it to the Bucks, or was he saying it to varsity team, or was he saying it to fucking?
Well, he was talking about the Bucks. He was saying the two young cucks. Yeah, I said it. He was like, and we're going to win this thing, and then we're going to beat those two young cucks. Yeah, I said it. But he didn't even, actually, I'm sorry. He went, those two young cucks. There was a pause.
Yeah.
And then he went, yeah, I said it. And I was
So,
like, oh.
Is
okay.
that a shot at Cornette, or, you know, as well?
Yeah.
So, but dude, that kid with the raps, I'm interested in what he's saying.
Me too.
Like those like throwback, like man on a mission, about to get dizzy. Like shut the fuck up, whatever. Like this dude's actually spitting some 4 bars of some real little insider hot shit. That when you listen is like, damn, there's heat right there. He said my name in his rap, and he got a diss line in on me. You know what I mean? A punchline. It's good, but the problem is the other guy looks so goddamn good. I mean, that guy, his partner's got money written all over on him, but the partner, when he says his thing, doesn't line up with how genius the other guy's thing is. So we really got to find something to follow up the rap with his partner, like a yeah, boy, whatever the fuck it is. But it's got to be something that plays out and heightens that game. Because right now we got one awesome thing, and then this dude's visually awesome, but the emotion doesn't back up what we just saw there. So we just got to find out what that hook is, what that hook gonna be. I don't want to continue to speculate on this further, but do you think there was an underlying? Was that a shot more at the Bucks, or was they referencing something? Well,
else?
I mean, what does that mean? That the Bucks let people fuck their wives while they watch?
I mean,
I don't. That's not what I know of those.
Yeah, that's what I didn't think either.
They made fun of the Bucks several Dynamites ago about the cover of their book.
That's right. You're right. With the book,
So
and looking at each other. Okay, you're right.
And the word cuck is kind of controversial, but it ain't that controversial.
You're right. I forgot about
that. I heard it on CNN the other day.
I forgot about them. The promo with them,
and it can also mean that you're just, in this day and age, not just because of the sexual connotation, but that you're a pussy boy.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Fucking Poppy Harlow or somebody said it the other day on the news. It ain't that bad.
So we had the match, 4-way match, Jurassic Express versus SCU versus the Acclaim versus the Varsity Blondes. As I mentioned, SCU has mentioned if they lose a match, they're disbanding. So we kind of knew where this was going. SCU does pick up the victory, and they've become the #1 contenders to the AEW World Tag Team titles. What do you think of the match itself, Silvio?
To be honest, I did not watch this one closely. I was grooming my beautiful beard here and watching at the same time. But I did note a lot of the back end, and I noted Brian Pillman working very, very hard and having a shit ton of fire. I thought this was a really good showing for Pillman. The team that won should have won, and I like them using the best moonsault ever as a dig at the Young Bucks. So.
That was a stiff line in the rap about you're going to be on dark side of the ring.
10 years, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Putting it through to his old man too, which I like that shit because that's the real, like that's going to draw a real emotion out of him in that match. That's undeniable. Instead of
to be fair, I saw Pillman Jr. on Dark Side of the Ring last week.
Yeah, he was on the episode.
Literally. He
was on the episode. He's on part 1. I was actually going to ask you, is that a missed opportunity on AEW's part? Should they have advertised the Dark Side of the Ring?
Of course.
Oh yeah, they should have a partnership and all that.
Put Pillman over right away.
Right.
Yeah. But I think the partnerships with WWE, so that's probably cock blocked to some degree. So all they can do is pop the underground by saying shit like that.
Is Dark Side of the Ring? I mean, with WWE, I don't think they are.
They've got to have a better open working relationship because AEW is new and WWE's got all the fucking stories and the legends and the access to it, right? So you got
one who could get a dark side like right now today would be like Nakazawa from AEW.
Awesome. I hope he narrates the whole thing. That'd be my favorite. Yeah, dude. This match, I don't know. The guys did a good job, but I just don't like these 4 corners tag matches. It's always a weird thing, and like you gotta blind tag a guy to do this and cut it off. And what are the rules? And why wouldn't you come in and break up something every single time? Which means the match needs what they call a shotgun finish or a waterfall. So everybody takes something and fucks off, and there's only 2 people left to really get the finish on, but they didn't do it that way. This was something interesting, and I no heat on Kid Pillman here. I just want to get your opinion as a coach. So they go into the finish, which is a version of the Meltzer driver, and Kid Pillman gets hooked and pulled up. He's not really knocked out. I see him put the seatbelt on for safety right around the waist of Kazarian, right, who had him up, and then they get hit. But he was there with that waist lock around inverted for like 5 Mississippi, 6 minutes. Here it comes, boom. Like, is that heat on production, not having the right shot, shooting him so he doesn't show his hand lock doing that? Or is that, should we wait and not do it or risk the safety? I'm just curious as your opinion, because that to me was like, oh, hey, he's knocked out from that other move, but he's well enough to hold on to the guy in a fake, inverted, whatever it is, for this amount of time. Because if a guy had you like that and you were able to clasp your hands, you should be fighting, like hitting his thighs to fucking get out of that before the pile driver comes. So we set up and kind of got caught, in my opinion. I don't know. What are you thinking?
From a coaching standpoint, Pillman did exactly the right thing. Protect himself. And you know as well as I do, when you're taking a move, sometimes you got to hold yourself in a certain position to make sure it goes right while you're.
I don't take pile drivers. I give them.
So no, I have absolutely no problem with what he did. Could they have weakened him a little bit more? So it, would have made more sense as to why he didn't struggle. Sure. But from the viewer's point, I doubt they noticed it. Just the trained eye like yourself.
Well, I just seen so many slips of catching people already from, production standpoint. I was like, that's another one. They could have done a wide shot. Yes, that's what I'm saying. So, but no, protect yourself first always. And I like seeing him safe there instead of doing something foolish or stupid. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So they announced that next week we are going to get the AEW Tag Team Championship match between the Young Bucks and SCU, as well as next week, Jon Moxley will defend the New Japan Pro Wrestling United States Championship against legendary Yuji Nagata. They show a in-depth video package to promote the bout, as well as Yuji Nagata's response to Moxley. And then Mox talks about coming at Nagata respect and how he invited him to Dynamite just because he wanted to face the great Yuji Nagata. He says he heard what Nagata had to say and that he called him a little punk. He says the great thing about the business is that no matter how long you've been in it, you can always learn something. He vows that Nagata will learn next week that your mouth can get you into a lot of trouble, especially when you're going to step in the ring with the baddest son of a bitch in the game, Jon Moxley. Thoughts, Mr. Steve Rogers from Channel 10?
Steve Rogers, Channel 10. It was a great Moxley promo. I'm always a big fan anytime I can hear a emotionally delivered Moxley promo, and I'm actually excited for this match. I didn't care about it the first time I heard the announcement, but after seeing the video package and Mox's promo, now I'm like, fuck yeah, I haven't seen Yuji Nagata since WCW in the 90s. Let's do this.
Yeah, I loved Yuji Nagata and ECW in that match they had. It was the All Japan 6-Way. I can't remember the show that it was on. I got it over there, but it was dope. But this isn't going to do – this is actually the wrong move because no one gives a fuck or knows who Yuji Nagata is. We're already under 1.2 on a 3-week decline, and we need to be booking things that are going to draw outside eyes back to the product. And this is not the match that's going to do it. Not
this
even
is for inside eyes. This is the AW fans.
That's the problem. We should not be booking like that at all.
And we discussed that earlier, booking more mainstream.
Mm-hmm. And Mox's promo was good, but in fact, at the end of that, when no matter how good your promo is, everyone's going to go, unless you are on the inside and a diehard, no one's going to go, Mox versus Yuji Nagata. I can't miss that one. People go the opposite. They go, Mox versus a guy who's only going to be there once. No one gives a fuck. I can miss this.
I mean, there's a huge in between those two things.
Right, but you shouldn't be even allowing them to say that, is my point. None of your booking choices should be allowing. Everything needs to be must see, can't miss, ongoing storyline, character arcs, the rise and fall, not I loved this guy back then, and I can't wait to face him one time to do that. And you remember that other Japanese guy that we had, Kento? How about Nakazawa? No one gives a fuck about them too. So here's Yuji. Oh, okay. I would rather have him fight Eugene than Yuji, to be honest with you.
You're just caught on the whole you part of it.
I am.
I think it's going to be a good match. And it's a weird position to be in, like with Moxley being their U.S. champion and them now having some kind of open door relationship that we're not clear on. Like at some point, they're going to have to do the business of that until Moxley gives the belt back. So, might as well put it on TV and have it on their show instead of letting New Japan have the match. I think it's just kind of a weird area that they're sitting in, but I'm looking forward to the match. I think it'll be good.
Mm-hmm. What if Eugene comes out as Yuji Nagata and they just try and sell it that way?
I would pop. I wouldn't like the match as much, but I would pop.
I bet it'd be a better match, though.
By the way, if you are interested in seeing a Yuji Nagata match, you can actually check out Global Impact, where there was Kurt Angle versus Yuji Nagata. They wrestled back in 2009, if you're interested in that.
If you're interested in a Eugene match, where might you be able to find that?
Well, you can go to WWE Network or Peacock, I guess, and check that out. Or you can go to Ben Hamin's OVW, Mr. OVW, and I'm sure he's got a Eugene match up there somewhere.
Probably with Totally Awesome, I imagine. I think there's one up there.
Nice.
No, never
that was Eugene and Richard Cranium.
So after that, we cut to Tony Schiavone, who's standing atop the entrance arena. He brings out the AEW champion Kenny Omega. Omega asks who's excited to see Blood and Guts. He says he doesn't. Basically says that makes one of us, that being the crowd, is excited. He's not. Schiavone says here on Dynamite on Wednesday night, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy will go one-on-one with the Bastard Pack. The winner will advance to face Omega at Double or Nothing for the championship. Kenny Omega does a great job putting over Pac. The fact that Pac has beat him before, that he considers Pac to be and himself to be the best wrestlers in AEW, and then when they got to Orange Cassidy, he's like, who? So the champion breaks out in laughter as freshly squeezed one himself makes his way out without any music. Fans react. Omega goes on the mic. Mox Cassidy tells him someone like him will never be championship material. He asks Cassidy if he minds and then takes his sunglasses off of his face. Says he's a shades guy himself, claiming that he's the one who made them popular in the first place. Apparently, Bret Hart didn't wear shades. Omega says Cassidy will never take his title, but he's taken something just as valuable, his precious time. For that, he's going to take something off Cassidy. He takes Cassidy's sunglasses off his face and puts them off Nakazawa, and they walk off. And Cassidy doesn't care, just lets him take his glasses. So there you go.
That's it. Just don't give a shit. Yeah, this was piss poor. I got a problem with AEW guys looking amateur taking the mic from Tony Schiavone while he just stands there. And Miro did it right after this too. Schiavone's job is to hold the mic and interview you. Not if you're going to take the mic, there's one point you do it at the peak of your promo when you're going to break the fourth wall and go through the camera. Give me that motherfucker. Now you hear me. I'm going to tell you something right now about what's going to happen in Blood and Guts. Like that's the point of when you do that. Not I'm going to cuff the mic and Schiavone can just stand there with his dick in his hand and a big earring. Like that.
Well, and to your point too, as far as the scene, drawing away from the scene, then Schiavone has to react like, oh, you took it from me? And now you're looking at Schiavone, feeling bad for Schiavone because he just got the mic taken from him.
You got it 100%. So like that's them not knowing. That is taking all of Schiavone's purpose for being there. Why doesn't he just come out and cut the promo directly and then Cassidy comes out? There's that the thing of you getting interviewed is that the interview holds a mic, not that you have the power there. But I got to put this over. Biggest thing that I enjoyed retweeting last night with just testify. Oh my brother. Let's see here. Bubba Ray Dudley puts out. Sorry, I just got to find it on here. Pretty much saying if I was Impact Management, I'd be hot as hell right now. My guy isn't coming out without your belt on. Here it is. If I'm management or owners of Impact Wrestling, I'd be fucking fuming that their World Heavyweight Championship was being carried out by Naka Nobody and not at least getting over the shoulder of Omega. Perception is reality. Hashtag AEW Dynamite. 100% right. And whatever this is that they've done with Impact is a spit in the face and stupid. The what we're seeing with these other blood feuds with the Bucks, the money is in Moose, Callahan, Swan and the Major Brothers showing up to fuck people up and get some reciprocity. And now that bus left the station. Now we can't even really start that story. Like the heat from Impact Rebellion is already gone, and they just shit all over the Impact product, which has a far more competent, better character and more dedicated roster than any other company has right now, dude.
Oh, my brother, testify.
That's what I'm saying.
I hear you. I'll be the odd man out. I liked it. I really like this segment because I'm starting to get into Omega in the heel role. He came out in the all whites like an asshole. Omega's not trying to be babyface anymore. He's gone past the threshold and now he's accepting the heel role. I like that he has Naka, who is a humorous person, but last night Omega did not do comedy. Like I get upset sometimes when Omega does comedy. He was a straight heel. Yep. Everything he said, he lied, he bullied, he insulted Orange. The only thing that was a shock to me about it was when the big announcement came that the options were Pac, who I said, okay, but Pac really hasn't beaten anyone lately, but that'll be a great match, him and Omega. And then they said Orange. And I'm like, how, just like Maddie asked earlier with the 12-0, I was like, how the hell is this the two people of everyone? How's Cassidy one of those when he hasn't had a high profile win since Jericho? Like what is the deal? How does that work? So this is going to be the ultimate litmus test because it looks like they're teasing it with what they did with Kenny and Cassidy. Orange is clearly the underdog, but we might end up getting him versus Omega. So this will be the official test to see how that pay-per-view sells. That's going to answer all those questions lingering. That'll tell us, okay, do we put Orange in the main event or do we keep him as a strong player that does funny shit and is there to make the audience feel good, or can he be our guy?
Why would he even be close to the main event, bro? Like that's not
I don't want to insult the man. You know what I mean?
Not his money. Having a match is not his money. Having an appearance out of nowhere is his money. And every premise we should be doing is a setup for there he is. You didn't see it coming, you know. But not that he's got the record and he's going to go out there and now face the champ. What an asinine decision to put him in the mix that way, bro.
That's just something you do on a Dynamite sometime, like Orange Cassidy somehow gets this title.
A spin the wheel lottery out of nowhere, and you know what I mean. And it's the match you didn't think, not anything along this. It was just bad.
Canada Spaceman brings up a good point. AEW Facebook weeks ago asked/hinted of Sami Callihan joining Moxley and as a buddy. Guess that ain't happening. That would be perfect, right? Because Impact wants their title back, so you have Sami Callihan help his buddy out Moxley to get the title back. I don't know. That makes sense to me, actually.
CZW crew.
Yeah. So after that, we get Miro. So Miro comes out and he makes his way over to Shivani. He takes the mic. See, in this case, I actually didn't mind Miro taking the mic from Shivani here because I just think he's the aggressive Bulgarian guy they would do.
Because it was his time to come through and do exactly what I was saying. But he did it after the segment where they already did it.
Oh, right.
Shivani's marginalized twice, is just sitting there with his finger up his ass.
Right.
Okay.
The best man talks about how he promised that he was coming after a champion in AEW, knowing it was just a matter of time, and which one, he says the decision is now. He hands a piece of paper to Shivani and tells him to read it. Shivani reads it next week. Darby Allin will defend the title against Miro, and there's a stipulation. If Darby doesn't show up, Miro still wins. And then from there, the commentators run down the whole lineup for next week's show. Really like this. If Miro doesn't win the title next week, I'm not reviewing the show next week because it'll be ridiculous. He needs to win the championship.
And now we give Darby a way out because yes, Miro could beat Darby head to head, but now we're giving Darby a way out as well because he got his ribs busted up the week before. Give Miro the belt, let him go on a wrecking rampage. What's that, Hamin?
Miro probably won't win the title because what's the finish already? Call the finish.
Interference by Sting.
Not by Sting, by what happened. What happened to Darby earlier?
Ethan Page and All Ego.
That's the business.
Right. I mean, unless the
Nah.
business is them screwing Darby out of the championship further, right?
Yeah, but they don't need to. Miro
They're
doesn't
not going to
need
want to
that.
get. They're not going to want to get Miro over. They're going to want to get themselves over. So they're going to fuck up the match. They'll beat him, and then maybe Miro gets some fucking heat back on one of them or something along those lines. But Miro up here and them costing
Can't-
Darby the title, you can't get
do
heat.
it.
I know you can't.
You
You
got
can't.
to put Miro up. The only answer to this is you got to put Miro
Got to
up.
put Miro up. If you don't put Miro up, you're basically have wasted the last 3 weeks that you've done trying to rebuild him after the breakup of Sabian and him.
Just
But
like
what
you
does that
heal
leave on the
running
bone
backs.
going forward? Darby's going to want to get his title back. He's not going to want to fuck with those guys who fucked him over to move into some other space.
I don't know. I
They're
disagree.
the-
Wrestling logic dictates the fact that if you get your title screwed, you go after the guy who beat you up. You don't care about the championship anymore. You go after the people that are beating you up, right? So if Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky cost him the championship, then his focus would shift to him and Sting being a tag match versus Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, which is what I think they're setting up.
Will it be this fucked up because of how I mean, I'm no Booker of the Year, so what do I know? What was the line in there that was the caveat? If you don't
Show up,
then
I automatically win.
so
He's not going to show up.
and
Miro's going to win
why doesn't he show up?
because Ethan Page and Darby Allin beat him down,
So he becomes champion without ever.
beating up Darby Allin. Right.
Darby's going to show.
Yeah, Darby's going to show.
Because he would show. The Darby character would show up.
Yeah,
If he
Darby's
had
going to
to
show
wheel
up.
himself out, he would show up.
I'm booking it now. Darby's showing up, and Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky are costing the championship. We'll come back to this next week when I'm right.
I'm booking it now. Darby
fine.
shows up. Miro beats him clean in under 5.
Okay, I like that better. But so the next is
Then
the
why would we do the business earlier in the night to do a double business on that without a screw job from the heels?
Bro, I was one time voted Booker of the Week. I don't know. I'm not Booker of the Year. Get out of here.
we go to our main event. Actually, first off, good on AEW this week. By the way, heading into the main event, I thought that show was good, and I like the fact that they did a really good job promoting all the matches that were going to be next week. I'm not saying they don't do that every week, but this week they did a really good job to hark on everything that was going to be on next week's show.
And they had Miro make the match announcement instead of just the graphic and
Right.
then saying, Tony Khan just made this match.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Right,
good.
right. After he cuts the promo.
Right. All right. So we shoot over to Justin Roberts, does the introductions for the next teams of the Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle in a blood and guts match. Heat on AEW for not using the track that I sent them from St. Manus called Blood, Guts, and Glory, which they are a award-winning metal band, whatever. That being said, we have the match. It's a big match. First off, good on everybody in AEW tonight for not using the 2 rings before we got to the main event. I kept watching the whole show going, nobody better double ring until we get to the main event. Nobody did. They just
No, that'd be so much heat.
What?
That'd be so much heat.
right.
Not on camera, backstage. You'd be fucked.
So I
I'd
was
be screaming at somebody if they did.
like, I know somebody's gonna yell that they
I'd
did.
have moved
Nobody did it.
something ring to ring. I'd say,
Right,
"Look,
exactly. So they did alternate really well as far as throughout the night using a different ring itself. Long match.
The only way I would have acceptably done that is if Orange Cassidy, like say that fucking this will pop. So say they were in the ring and the cage wasn't down and Omega's doing in ring with
Giovanni.
Shivani. Orange comes down, gets in the other ring. Shivani's got to go through the ropes to go interview him over there. And then when Omega wants to rebuttal, they just keep ping ponging, making Shivani go through the ropes, and he's the one that does it. That's the only way I would have fucking think that I would allow that as a producer and to get max value before the cage comes down. What do you think, so?
I love it.
Okay.
So we get a big 35-minute match here between these two teams. Now, first off, I want to talk about, so the group comes out, that being the Inner Circle, and they're wearing jumpsuits, and they're kind of going with the gang robbery kind of gone wrong scene or whatever. From
What color are their jumpsuits?
Gray.
Dark blue.
Black.
What are the, and they're the babies or heels in this?
The babies.
No.
Oh.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, they're the
Inner
babies.
Circle, yeah.
And then Pinnacle is the.
Heels. And
And
they're all
they're
wearing all
wearing-
white. They're wearing mostly white, yeah.
How are we not?
I
Fuck.
called this out last night. I love the Pinnacle in white gear. I thought it looked great. And I looked over at Jenna and I go, Hamin's going to hate it.
I like that they all look the same, but I would have taken that white gear off them. I would have had them in the black jumpsuits, and I would have had Inner Circle in orange ones, and make it look like a real brawl that way, a jailhouse blood and guts brawl if we're going to do costuming. But I will put this out there now. You check out MJF's new boots. Yeah, Burberry scarf straight from at Steve the Shoe Man. 3 new pair of MJF boots. Go follow Steve the Shoe Man on Instagram. Tell him Hacker Hamin sent you. Started with the Indies, man, and now it's gone all the way up to everybody: Chelsea Green, Mandy Rose, MJF, and a lot of your favorite AEW stars getting Steve the Shoe Man boots. And you can too at the best price going, man. From Australia, custom shoes at Steve the Shoe Man. That's who does Hacker boots, baby.
Also, he did Jim Stranger's. Jim Stranger just did a recent unboxing of his shoes.
That's right. Shout out Jim Stranger, man.
Steve the Shoe Man got a little heat at the Silvio house, but he makes some great boots, and he's going to make it right because he's a good man.
Oh, he does. He's got some heat. All right.
So when the group makes their way out, I kind of got like the vibes. I don't know, like it looked like a scene from the Dead Presidents film with the Inner Circle.
Mm-hmm.
Loved it.
But I want to point out something, and this is only because we talk about Tony Khan being a South Park fan, right? And I'm the biggest South Park fan. And maybe I'm looking into this. This is just from the recent season 23. There was an episode called The Mexican Joker, where at the end of the episode, a Mexican is painted in all white face paint. So I was just like, it kind of threw me off a little bit when I saw Santana and Ortiz come out dressed up in all white, and I went, "Oh, did Tony Khan make them be the Mexican Jokers tonight?" That being said, the match was long.
That's from
the Dead Presidents. Yeah, no, I got that as well.
I just wasn't sure if that was in your era or not.
So long, 35-minute match. It would take us a whole podcast to go through this whole match itself in depth, but it ends with what got Hamin hot, and he talked about it at the beginning of the show. MJF and Chris Jericho are on top of the cage steel structure. You've got the Inner Circle on the outside pleading and begging, "We give up. Don't push Jericho off the cage." And then MJF motions to the camera like, no, I'm not going to do anything. And then he pushes him, and then Jericho lands on what looks like a very padded, fake steel step box, if you will. Actually, as I watched it, I went, man, Jericho was willing to take a fall off the top of the cage, but then I realized it was raised up pretty high too. So it probably wasn't as big as
but he's 50. And I said that to Stevie this morning, bro. Think of all the bumps Jericho's taken in his life, and then to take that, man, it's still way dangerous. But
it's high. This is coming from somebody who flies a lot.
Yeah,
that's high, Matty. Even I would be pretty scared.
It's not as high as the OVW cage jump you did.
No, but still, it's high.
So yeah, how it actually technically, and if to be specific, is Sammy Guevara is asked if he surrenders, will he let Jericho go and not go through with it? MJF says he will. Guevara surrenders on behalf of the Inner Circle, giving them the pinnacle.
Bad.
And then MJF pushed him off. Go ahead, Ben.
That's just a bad choice when you're saying you're going to have to. How good was their standoff last week, where everyone's saying you're going to have to kill me in the ring? There's no way we're doing it, and then everyone's doing the cowards, wave them off, bring in the fucking 747 like down below. Like they should have waved it off, and if you had them there, fuck you, and then they both go together through the big bump, and we're all gonna die here. That it was as wrong, anticlimactic of a choice as you could make, and then business exposing bad by not having the stunt spectacular shot or set up the right way to protect it from the fans' view, especially after these guys spilled so much blood. Really did have a good War Games match. I was real nervous on that one spot in the middle of the match when Wardlow was going to catch Hager charging in, drop him in his head. Like that felt bad. But when you're peeling up the fucking mats and trying to expose the wood and that's not the finish, well, then why are we doing that shit? Don't do it if it's going to make it a dangerous thing for the rest of the match. Guys hitting each other with turnbuckles.
I think that was just Wardlow, Hager being super big, man, and flying at Wardlow. I don't think that has anything to do with the ring.
I don't know. He might have. I think maybe on the takeoff or something or what have you got stumbled.
Hot and he's big.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. and it's late in the match, so why are we doing those? Are kind of unnecessary, you know. Spears was good, so Guevara was good in this. That bar, fuck the Revival was good. I mean, the last one of these I saw live was War Games at OVW 2007, Team America versus Baby Faces, and I think Spears and Cody were in that as well. So they worked their ass off, and I feel bad that we're not taking the time for these big epic finishes to get them done the right way. They're 0-2 on it, and it makes the crowd's going to go home. The viewers at home are going to go home with the last thing that they saw in that big high spot that looked like, you know, a BS stunt show, at a local carnival, not Disney World. We need to be at Disney World level of believability when we do this shit. So I feel bad that those guys bled for all that. And then they did have a couple big shots that they can use still wise with MJF and hitting his marks. Those guys are doing great at that. The heat is really on production, to be honest with you, not the workers.
Yeah, the production tonight was, I mean, I harp on it all the time, just the camera shots and the angles and who's doing things back there, who's running the board, who's technical director, whoever it is. I don't know who you are. I'm going to tell you right now, you suck. I've watched you do this for a full fucking year. You suck.
Wow.
Go ahead.
There's been a lot of big, and even the guys who are doing the pyro, they get it right on the stage, but you're not going to get it right on the explosion match. Same crew. Somebody's got to answer for it at the end of the day. You know, you can't. Go ahead.
Let's take it to the light side of the ring. I like this match a lot. I gotta say, I have so much respect for all those guys and what they put themselves through. I've been in those physical matches before, and when you're there, you are literally giving everything you have in your body and soul to the audience to make them feel something special. And I know that as a performer, and I saw it in all of those men's eyes last night. Fans understand that literally a match like that, this isn't just bullshit talk. They're literally risking their career and possibly their life to give a performance like that. So tons of respect for them, who really, everybody I thought shined. I love the white gear, but Santana and Ortiz particularly impressed me. When they came in for their entrances, that fire, especially from Ortiz, I never saw them as baby faces. They are fucking on fire. I'm elbowing Jenna like, when you're a babyface, that's the fire. You don't have to be, yay, clap for me. It's just come in, whipping ass, and then stick your fucking pose, and everyone comes up. They did a beautiful job. There were some wonky things in there. The only thing I'll take them to task for is the chair shots to the head. Wardlow took what appeared to be a pretty big one. The one earlier, I saw Sammy get his hands up. But even when you do get your hands up, coming from experience, it still hits your head. So, guys, there's a reason all you bros are in there getting to perform in War Games, and I'm at home behind a desk doing a podcast, and it's for stuff like that. Me being stupid and taking chair shots and other unnecessary bumps, and even small bumps that hurt you when you don't expect it. So I would rather not see those. But as far as the match itself, it was good. Only thing that hurt it was the commercials. Next time, put that on.
Yeah, that's rough. That's a great point. So that was what hurt this match the most, was taking breaks to commercials. And you can't. And when you're in the epic battle, of a fucking movie, you're not gonna. We'll be back, guys, and then we'll restart again. Okay.
Can't do it. So next time, put it on pay-per-view. Now, to your point, Hamin, to the finish. So the heels had to win this. If they would have lost, I'd have been pissed, because we went through all that to make the Pinnacle group, so they had to win. I would have never in a million years written that particular finish, but I like the fact that it was different. And here's the emotion I saw from it. MJF dangling Jericho, and Sammy, who's like a son to Jericho, saying, no, don't kill him. You know, he's my fucking guy. Don't do it. So to me, it made sense that Sammy would be the one to say, because Jericho is willing to die technically, right? But Sammy, it makes sense to me to be the one to say, no, call it off. I just would have changed the timing a little bit. So there was too much time between the bell ringing and MJF throwing it off. Here's what the timing should have been. Sammy says, no, don't do it. Okay, fine, I surrender. MJF drops him for a split second and goes, boom, and pushes him off anyway. Then we get the wide shot of Jericho falling from the other side, kind of how they shoot Shane McMahon when he does his crazy dives. We do that wide shot so we don't see the impact onto the crash pad.
Okay.
Then get in on a very tight shot where you just see Jericho and you don't see all the falderall next to him. I will agree with you in a sense that they showed how the trick was done, but you got to have a pad there. So I'll side with Matt and just say production could have just used a different angle on it. I don't want Jericho really taking that bump, nor any of the boys.
No, but there needs to be a disappear below
Yes.
us horizon. You know what I mean? And once he hits, we got Santana reaching over, checking on him, and he slaps on the diamond plate, and you can see that it's cardboard and rubber. I'm like, oh, bro, we're blowing every illusion right here. I like what you say there, Sil, for sure. But I just think that if you're gonna do the bump, regardless, don't do the wave off. Let that be the finish in some degree.
But
because
then how are they going to give up, though? Because the only way to win is to say, I surrender. So they wouldn't be able to surrender unless Jericho from the ground goes, I surrender.
Yeah, something along those lines down that way, or it's shoot reverse while we're both going, and on the way down, right before they got him, MJF, I surrender, so he doesn't let him go, or something along those lines, and then we go. But I think your timing of it was much better as well. But man, at the end of the day, they're going to remember what went down in the very last seconds, and it was business exposing bad, unfortunately, from top guys, man.
Red Rob's in the chat room. He pointed out that Keith Mitchell is actually the head of the production team. I'm not sure on Keith Mitchell. I'm sure Keith Mitchell's not on the board operating. If you're the head of the production, you have people who are doing that. So I'm not shitting on him. I'm frustrated with the guy on the board who's changing the camera.
I think the boys in the match are going to be the most frustrated for all the blood they spilled, everything they did leading up to it, and then to get exposed in the big ta-da. So, but I hope the numbers are back over 1 million.
They will be.
Okay, good. I'm taking your
We'll
word.
see, because Kung Fu and CW only did 800,000 last night.
Yeah.
So.
I think if the numbers are up, it's because there were more butts on this show, and I think butts are the big thing of what's going to happen.
Let's get our butts out of here.
Well, guys, yeah, that's it. That's going to do it for another edition of Light the Fuse. I'm your host on the scene where the air is clean, and I'm lighting up that green. Yeah, boy, MSG. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Matthew_Schaffer. You can also check out patreon.com/StevieRayTV for tons of great content up there this week. He, of course, has his weekly show with Sonny Ono and Jimmy Tibbs. And this week, he also had on track star Stanley Floyd. And they did had a very good conversation on performance-enhancing drugs, on PEDs.
Nice.
This all stemmed from a conversation from Black and White, where Stevie and Russo were having a debate on back and forth on the effects of PEDs. So Stevie was like, well, I'm going to go get a guy who knows. So he went and got Stanley Floyd, and they talked about it. Also, while I'm not advocating, if you are a fan of Harlem Heat, Booker T's documentary A&E will be this Sunday, and Stevie Ray is in that as well. So you can check out the A&E documentary on Booker T. Of course, you can also check out my podcast. It's called Suck My Balls, the South Park Review. It's up right now, episode number 73. I just dropped, I believe. So you can check that out right now on all podcast outlets.
Next week before UFC 262, we have Adrian Yanez coming on too, on live on SRTV. So that's going to be awesome, man. Great young fighter, great on the mic, Houston local, and hopefully we can build even more relationships there. But
right now,
big appreciation to MSG, man, putting out NFO podcasts, co-hosting these shows, producing Stevie Ray TV, getting things to our affiliate at the A-Star Network. Just want to really highlight you, Matt, and say thank you for all the dedication and hours you put in, dude.
Oh, I appreciate it. It's going to start paying off, which we'll be able to tell more people about here in the next couple of weeks. So that'll be awesome. Yeah,
a lot of new opportunities and great shows this week on all of our Patreons. The A show, Idol Stevens was going in on some WWE on what it takes to be a performer, man. So definitely check out Idolizer. He was laying out some great stuff. New Rip Rogers will be up soon. Beautiful people got into the tequila way before Cinco de Mayo. And if you want to see some hot chicas partying down, and might be a little velvet twerking going on in the Patreon as well. So yeah.
Can I get the login now? Can I get the login now?
Larry Hankin videos are up too at patreon.com/Larry Hankin. Show him very pumped to be working on that brand. I got some stuff to do on that right afterwards here. And everything's going smoothly, man. We just got to keep our nose to the grind and keep producing great content like this with great conversation where we can rebook things and hope for the best, man. And nobody I'd rather have than the Chris Silvio with us, along with Genocide. Anytime we can get it, please check out that match, you guys. Genocide.
It's free. You can watch it on YouTube. You don't have to worry about illegal download.
Now today for free.
On whose channel?
Title Match
Network. Yeah.
Title Match Network. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was Mission Pro or not. Title Match Network. Give them a follow. Tell them Hamin Media sent you. Sil, how about the rest of your day, pal?
I got a kind of a big announcement today, boys. I am currently accepting. I've capped off my class at Psi Dojo. I am currently on an open call for 2 students that are either, I want 1 heavyweight and 1 junior heavyweight. They can be male or female, and they must come from an athletic background, preferably in some kind of combat sport or football, something physical, but I'll take other sports as well. Athletic background. And,
I have a background in badminton. Does that count?
Badminton.
And the next part must be dedicated to a diet and exercise regimen. I have 2 open slots for people that I am trying to prep specifically for television. So if you feel like you fit that mold, I have exactly 2 openings for 2 people, man or woman. Get at me on Facebook at Chris Silvio, and you can have an opportunity to shine at the Psi Dojo and shine later on in some larger companies. We got Genocide right now kicking ass at NWA. She's going to be a huge player there. We got Bulletproof Troop kicking ass over at Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, and he's about to make some big splashes. I got 2 NCAA basketball players, a female tag team that are going to be hell on wheels. Expect to see them one day on a very, very big show. A lot of good things coming on at the school. So if you want to be part of the team, hit me up. Otherwise, follow Genocide at all social media at Genocide000 and check her out on NWA. Tell her you want to see a lot more Genocide, because I know
Follow-up question, Silvio. When is Bulletproof going to have his first match? Because Hamin Media is waiting for GGP versus Bulletproof.
we're discussing. I'll give a little bit of teaser, but my latest goal for him is to be completely ready by June 30th.
All right.
Nice, man. Nice. Yeah, big things coming down the pipe. Russo brand, Hamin Media Group. Want to say shout out to at Frostbite BC, aka at Mandeer666. New Master Shoot Theater animation coming your way. The teaser trailer's out with Vince tripping on acid going down Alice in Wonderland's hole. So
yeah, I downloaded that app. The amount of work that he's putting into that is ridiculous, because you have to individually capture the audio for each person and then bring it all into Premiere to edit. It's a lot of work, guys.
It's serious biz, man, and I appreciate him. Appreciate the vet and Colin tomorrow doing Impact Attack as well, running that down, and everybody here, all hands on deck.
Next level's up right now.
Next level's up. Wednesday locker room's up. Patreon.com/Hamin Media Group, all for free, infidels. As we move on, get ready to do the dynamite blowout here, guys, because it's blood and guts. There's livers, there's bile ducts, there's intestines all over the place. Here, Hamin Media Group, light the fuse. Yo!